Well, there you go then.
So hello, Beth.
Hello.
Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you very much for having me.
On the BTS Creative Academy podcast. We're here back in the Victoria Hall Theatre, where this podcast all began. I've been away from here for a little while. I've been on a bit of a journey, been up to Edinburgh, and I've got another location in central London now. So,
fantastic.
And this building's been busy, so I haven't been able to be in this space, but I love being here. It's nice to be back. So welcome.
Thank you very much.
You're a singer, songwriter.
Yes.
Yes.
And yeah, I'm a musician. I also produce music as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I try and just experiment with lots of different kind of things and try and just push the boundaries.
Nice. So we'll get into that pushing the boundaries. I've been listening to some of your music on Spotify this morning.
Have you?
So I've been getting a feel for your vibe.
Okay.
Before we begin, I've got a little tradition that I do at the beginning of these podcasts. We just do a little 3, 2, 1 and clap together, and then we begin.
Okay.
So you ready to join me?
Go on then.
Okay, here we go. 3, 2, 1. Nice.
Okay,
That's lovely in sync. Here we go. So that's it. That's the official start to the podcast. So here we are. So I met you, Beth, at Liverpool Street Station. I was walking through and I saw you setting up your keyboard and getting ready to sing, and I thought there's something interesting about what you're about to do there. And so I thought I'd give you one of my cards and introduce you to the podcast and see if we could have a chat.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming over and introducing yourself. It was really nice, actually. It's always lovely to meet, like-minded creatives and meet new people and network. And so it was really nice. And you hadn't even heard me sing. I might have been awful.
No, there's that. Yeah.
So don't know what you let yourself in for.
No, I think that's the interesting thing with what I'm doing with this. I think I'm not necessarily looking to talk to people that have a certain skill level, that are at a certain place within their craft. I want to talk to people that are just doing the thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. That you're doing your art. I've since discovered you are pretty good at your craft since meeting you.
That's good.
But I'm not necessarily looking to talk to people that are masters of the art, that have reached a certain level with their thing. People that are just doing it, that are living a creative life. And you being out there on the streets of London, you're out there quite a bit, I've seen on social media. Tell me a little bit about what that's like, being out on the streets performing.
Yeah, so it's really fun, actually. Yesterday, as an example, I did 3 slots in London. Because I come all the way from Luton area, I try and make my train fare back. So obviously I don't do it for the money. It's just, for me, it's part of my growth as a performer, as a singer-songwriter. It's great to get out there and share my music with total strangers. It's how I network and how I met you. And for me, it's just a great way to grow my confidence, grow my experience, and but at the same time, it is nice when you do make a bit of money, because I have to make my train fare back, and it is a way that I would like to try and make more of a living. Not that I rely upon the donations, but for me, it's important to me that I can sustain myself financially as a musician as well. And that's why I did 3 slots yesterday, so it was really hardcore, and I'm still quite tired from it. Hence the coffee. But you know what? Sometimes I think you have to really push yourself and put yourself in uncomfortable situations to really, and graft, and to really know what the possibilities are that could happen. I've got this saying that anything amazing could happen at any moment. And whenever I'm having a dull day, and whenever I'm busking or I'm feeling, this is really rubbish, like yesterday, the first slot was at King's Cross and it was tipping it down with rain. And I was just like, oh man, this sucks, I just want to go home. And I just felt like, you know what, no, anything amazing could happen at any moment. And yesterday was just one of those days where nothing particularly amazing did happen, if I'm honest. But then you have some days where some amazing things happen, like, meeting yourself, ending up on this amazing podcast. And then you have days where it is just going to rain and you get in there, but you have to show up. You have to show up for yourself. So that's what busking in London for me, it's opened up doors in that respect, meeting other people like yourself, and obviously hopefully getting more gig opportunities in the London area. but it's just a really great vibe as well, and it's been really a great boost for me as a musician as well, to get out there more, expand my territory.
Of course. And yeah, get yourself out into the world and share your music with the world.
Yeah.
What a wonderful thing that is to do. And I wonder about that thing that you never know when something amazing is going to happen. Yeah. But whether that is necessarily for yourself as well. You never know with your music who's going to walk past, who that's going to affect, what that's going to do to their day or their life. That's
such a good point you make, actually, because I've been busking in Early for 3 years, coming up to, and I tend to busk regularly in the Centre MK, and I'll use this as an example from what you've just said, because it was actually this really lovely lady was overhearing me sing in Costa, and to cut a long story short, without mentioning names or anything like that, she hadn't been able to listen to music since her husband passed away. And I didn't know this until much further down the line when we were emailing, because she contacted me and wanted me to sing at her birthday party as a result of hearing me sing. But because she heard me sing, it was the first time she was able to listen to any music, because of what music meant to her. And I burst into tears when I read the email when she told me. And it's things like that matter the most to me, how it impacts other people, because that's why I do what I do, because like you say, that the thing that could have happened at any time was that lovely lady who just so happened to be enjoying a coffee, overheard me, and then it led to this wonderful event. I got to sing at her birthday party just the weekend just gone, and for me it was such a delight and such a privilege to be there for somebody who'd been through so much in her life, but then to know that my singing had brought some kind of healing to her heart and to that grief. And for me it was just so special, and that's what to me is more important. It's more important than awards, nominations, chart positions, all that nonsense. For me it's about reaching the unreachable, and actually those stories like that just it's beyond words really. That's what matters most to me.
With music, we can make such wonderful connections with people, can't we? That, like you say, it goes beyond words. It goes further than any language, any culture. It breaks barriers, doesn't it? The music, and when you're out there on the street, you don't know what barriers need breaking. Because everyone's got their thing going on in their life, haven't they? Everyone's got a different story. We're all at different parts of our different journeys. Yeah. And you don't know what that's going to do for someone, singing that song at that right moment.
Yeah, that's actually very true as well. There's been so many times where I've sung, I think was it At Last by Etta James, and sometimes that's been a couple of times. There's been some lovely lady who's just come up to me and said, that was mine and my husband's song, and thank you so much for singing that, and it reminded me of happier memories. Or you just don't know who it's going to affect, and some people just come by and tell you, and just even a smile from a stranger. You get a few miserable people who walk by as well.
Of course.
Who don't obviously appreciate buskers, or just don't like you. I'm not everyone's cup of tea as well.
No.
And that's fine as well. It's just learning to grow that thick skin, because when you put yourself out there on the street, you do have to be subject to criticism. And subject to all the negative people out there who just don't blatantly like you for no reason.
I've been reminded recently that there are some bad people out there in the world. There's a lot of good people, and I've recently been meeting so many new good people that I completely forgot they were bad people. It just kind of went out of my mind, and I had a situation where I ran into some bad people, and I was like, oh yes. Still be aware that there is kind of this balance of people, that there isn't all good, it isn't all bad. It's kind of maybe it is 50-50. Maybe there is something in yin and yang is coming.
Yang. I was about to say that. Yin yang.
Maybe that's coming to mind at the moment with people out there.
In this world, we will have trouble. That's the thing. There's always going to be evil, disaster. But like you say, there's always the positive. And if you focus on the positive, you feed the good dog, then the bad dog will starve, and eventually the evil will diminish.
I guess that's the hope.
Yes.
With what we're doing, that's the hope that we're moving towards a more positive future, a more positive world for all of us.
Yeah.
But I was going to bring up that my daughter's getting into busking.
Oh, really?
She's 15.
Oh, that's so exciting to hear.
And I've taken her to Cambridge a few times.
Yeah.
I think it was the last weekend I took her, and it was a lovely sunny day. Perfect day for being out on the street. Wasn't too hot, wasn't too cold. Yeah. Busy Cambridge as well.
Wonderful.
She did really well financially. She made £160.
Wow, that's amazing.
For 6 hours.
Oh, that's fantastic.
She took a friend with her as well, and split the money with her friend.
So brave at age 15 as well. So
yeah.
brave.
And I was so proud to watch her and how she was dealing with people and interacting with people. But I was also aware, standing back and watching some of those not so good people. There were an older couple just looking at the money in a guitar case, and that was all they were focused on, was that money. Yeah. And I was like, well, I've got my eye on you.
Yeah, I'm watching you.
So how do you deal with people like that when you're, my daughter's 15, I'm going to be with her as often as I can, especially while she's still a teenager.
Absolutely, security is everything.
So as an adult, you're out in the world by yourself. How do you look after yourself?
When I'm busking? Well, take yesterday as an example. So I hadn't even started singing, and I think it's just about composing yourself and being strong and being tenacious and being brave and not letting the buggers drag you down. And I had a few buggers yesterday morning, so there was about 15 lads. I think they'd been on a bender, and they were just stood in front, bless their hearts, they were all like, come on, sing us a song. And I've only just set up, and I was just trying to calm down. I was like, ooh. And this is where having thick skin comes in, and also being assertive. And bless their hearts, they did put a couple of pound in there, which was nice. But then they started putting cigarettes in my tipping jar, and they started like just shouting at, and you could tell they'd been drinking. And I was thinking, I feel really uncomfortable, and I started singing, and they were just going, whoa. And I've had many occasions like this before. Like, you do get a few Jack the lads who walk through, and I love that, because sometimes they are singing along with you and you're pointing at them and you have a little dance with them, and that's great. There's that kind of side of things which is great, that kind of banter. The
banter's fun. It's when there's like a line.
Yeah.
So how do you protect that line? How do you make sure that line is protected?
Yeah, so essentially it's just a case of standing up, standing your ground, and that line had been crossed sadly yesterday by putting the cigarette in there, and I do not tolerate any such things. And so thankfully at King's Cross there's lots of security. So I just went straight into my my money holder, and wherever everybody pops the donations, and I took it out and I handed it back and said, take your cigarette back. I said, I will not be tolerating that. And I said, you can move along, please. I'm trying to work here. Because it's one of my jobs, one of my very many jobs. But yeah, I was like, you know what, I will not be standing for this. And you could see that there was other people, like you're saying about the good people in the world. There was this lovely lady who came up to me straight after, and she said, are you okay? I was going to intervene, I was going to get security for you. And I said, oh, thank you so much. And it was just people like that who look out for you. You get these angels, I call them angels. And even yesterday, like carrying heavy loads of gear around London on the underground, and praying and hoping you don't topple down the escalator because it's so heavy. And honestly, God was good to me, because I just had all these total strangers, I called them angels, who literally went, do you want a hand? Let me help you. And they all helped me carry it up the stairs, or, get it onto the tube and off the tube, and even onto the train at one point. I nearly got it wedged in the door. And it's just things like that. But yeah, you do have to have thick skin, and you just have to just be fearless. That's the word I'm looking for. So if there's anything I can impart to your daughter, it's just be fearless.
Well, that is one thing that she is. That's a characteristic that I know she's got. She might not know it. She might say the opposite, but I know that is something that she is. She is fearless, and
good for her.
She always has been, and I think she always will be.
That's wonderful as well to know that age 15 she's getting out there and doing that. That tells me that she's going to have an amazing future as a musician. Does she sing as well? She does sing as well.
She goes there with her guitar and with her portable speaker. Yeah. But she was also putting that down and setting up tracks from YouTube, backing tracks, and just singing on the street like that. And
mixing it up again. Yeah.
There was a really beautiful moment actually towards the end of the day in Cambridge. There was a group of students that were singing along with her.
Oh, that's so nice.
And the battery on the speaker died.
Oh no. Been there.
But she carried on singing.
Good for her, yeah.
Like, she carried on with the song, and the crowd got bigger and bigger and bigger once the music had gone, and it was just literally her and the crowd of students. They also started singing.
Yeah.
Everyone, it was like this thing was resonating. It started with her, that she was just like, there was a moment of, the music's dead.
Yeah.
But then she carried on, the students carried on, and then more and more people started being like, oh, what's this?
Yeah.
And there was this, all of a sudden, there was this big crowd around her, and it was really beautiful to see.
That's so encouraging,
that
isn't it?
power that you can have with music, of bringing people together, of building those connections with people that you don't know.
And the a cappella, something so special about a cappella, isn't it? And it's
Yeah.
because people would have gone, oh, the music stopped. Oh, this is more interesting, actually. It built that sense of community and that unity as well. And how encouraging for your daughter to know that everyone was on her side, because obviously everybody is on your side. That's the one thing you have to realise when you're busking, is that 99.9% of the time everyone is cheering for you. They want you to win. They're like really happy to see you. They're like, yes, music, yes, free entertainment, woohoo. But at the same time, there's always that 1% or that 0.1%. Where you do worry about it. Oh gosh, it could all go wrong. But I'm so glad to hear that your daughter had that moment, and I'm so proud. I don't even know her, but I'm so proud of her for getting out there and doing that at such a young age. Like, she's very brave.
Well, and I feel like it's teaching her so much about her craft as well, that again, she might not even see it right now, but I think looking back, she's learning things as she's there. She's practicing while she's out in front of an audience.
Yeah.
And sometimes she's performing with no audience. Everyone's just walking past.
Yeah.
And she's still going. She's still doing it.
Yeah, that's it. I think that's it. It's just having that nerves of steel, and just, like you say, carrying on like she is, regardless of anybody's watching. And that's the thing, being a musician, you find yourself playing to empty rooms a lot of the time. I've done quite a few. Or you try and put on a concert and hardly anyone turns up, that kind of thing. And it's just like, you just have to expect it. You have to make a loss sometimes, but it's great. This is with busking, you tend to make a profit more than a loss, where I think it's one of the best ways to make money as a musician. And it's one of those kind of taboo subjects of like, but it's not very professional though, is it? But actually, being a busker is becoming more of a kind of elite profession, because everyone kind of looks down at it and going, it's just a glossy way of begging. And I'm like, no, it's not.
No, and if you consider what she earned in a day, £160,
You're
who's going to sniff at that?
Tax-free as well.
Yeah, there is that, yeah. Apart from when you've got the tap machine, because everyone wants so that's something I need to sort out for her.
Yes, iZettle, that's a good brand.
Right, okay.
There's other brands out there as well, to be fair, but that's one of the things that I've been using in London.
Yes, and do you feel like that's helped, that's been beneficial?
Massively, which sometimes, honestly...
Because cash has disappeared since COVID. You're good. Yeah, cash isn't so readily available, isn't in everyone's pocket anymore. No. Everyone has their money on their phone, don't they, and on their cards just for tap and ease of use. So you need to be able to still take that transaction, don't you? When you're on the street.
It's becoming more and more important, because the amount of times before I had my Zettle and my little cashless payment thing, the amount of times people were like, got their card out and went, like this anywhere? And I went, no. But bless them, the two dedicated ones will go to the cash point and get cash out.
Yeah.
So it always helps to busk near a cash point, to be fair.
Oh,
so
really?
You've got to be a bit nifty.
Yeah,
and then your daughter finds a spot to busk, find it near a cash point.
I think with what you're doing, when you're doing something creative, you do have to think of some business angles. You do have to look not just at the art, but you need that money to come in to be fuel for you, don't you?
Yes.
So you do need to consider things like that. Is there anything from a business angle that you would give any recommendations to consider, other than making sure you've got a tap machine and you're near a cash machine? Is there anything else from a business point of view that's worth considering?
Absolutely, yeah. So some things I've learned along the way is always dress as if you are performing for a gig. Dress to impress. Turn up as if you would turn up to your own show. Like, show up for yourself, that saying again. So put your lippy on, if you're a girl, obviously, or if you're a guy, put your lippy on. Wear your little headband. Sorry, I've got hay fever. My nose is running.
No, it's terrible right now. In fact, I've got the same thing.
Oh, you should have seen me yesterday. My nose was literally like Niagara Falls. But yeah.
And it's quite dusty in here as well.
Oh, that's all right then. It's great for the allergies.
Yeah.
Have your business card or your little leaflets ready to go. So if somebody comes up to you, your daughter might have already experienced this, you know, oh, well, do you do weddings? Do you do events? Would you like to come sing for me? Or we've got this, you know, cafe around the corner, we're looking for singers, or can I have your details, please? Have your website sorted as well. If not website, have social media presence. Have a little something that says your name. So I always have my little @BethMerill sign. Or I've just recently got a new one where I printed it off with my actual logo now. So I've got my logo to keep in with my brand.
Of course, yeah.
So also have that brand about yourself. I know it sounds crazy to say because you're just trying to be an innocent busker on the street, but at the same time, most buskers these days are professional music artists, singer-songwriters. Is your daughter a singer-songwriter as well?
Not. She's just testing the water with it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, she's got so much time ahead of her.
Yes.
I'm so happy to hear that she's getting out there, and I think it's so important. Definitely, if you are a singer-songwriter as well, like myself, that's what I am before I am a busker. To be fair, busking is just a way of me trying to get more income to fund my singing-songwriting journey. But yeah, I think definitely if you're going to get out on the street, dress to impress, have your business cards ready, make sure that you're also choosing locations that are quite lucrative financially, not because you're going there deliberately to kind of go, oh yes, I might get some more money if I go here, but also think about where you're going. Like, are you going to a prestigious area? Are you trying to get prestigious clients? Who are you looking for to try and employ you? As you know, what kind of clients are you looking for? So for me, you know, going to places like Harpenden for myself, which is near me, Welling, I busk all over St Albans, Milton Keynes. I've met quite
slightly more affluent areas,
Exactly.
slightly where people are out shopping rather than loitering. Who can afford to give you £1 here and there?
Yeah.
You know, that is a consideration taken. That's why she wanted to go Cambridge, actually.
Yeah.
She wanted to not be in Harlow for a number of reasons. For that as being one of the main ones, it's a more affluent area.
Yeah.
But also to not be distracted by a friend.
Oh yeah,
you know, if you
run into somebody that you know.
Somebody that you know.
That's a very good point, actually. Yeah.
So she was looking at a business angle. She was like, "No, I'm going out to do a job today.
Yeah.
If I do it in Harlow town, then people are just going to come up to me all day long and want to talk to me or prat around, and I don't want that when I'm working."
Yeah, exactly. You don't want to be interrupted. Yeah, the worst thing is when somebody interrupts you and you just end up chatting for like 20 minutes, and you're like, unless it's a business opportunity, unless they're actually meaning to actually take your details and chat to you. If people are just talking to you and wasting your time, I have that so much, and I have to say, look, I'm really sorry, I need to get on.
I need to get on with
I'm
work.
actually working. Because sometimes people just think, oh, buskers, they're just, you know, people who just got nothing else to do, and they're just spending their day busking. But actually, it's work. It's one of my jobs, you know. And to be a licensed busker in London, you have to do an audition process, and you have to work hard and prepare, and it's not something that comes easily. And it's something that it's a privilege to do, and I don't ever want to jeopardize my license. And that also comes with like randomers also wanting to sing with you on the street on private land. I can't do that. It's not allowed, unfortunately. But in a public place like Cambridge or like St Albans, you can, because it's a public street and it's not private owned, depending on where you're busking. So then again, it comes down to location and making sure that you're being wise where you stand, but also not encroaching upon somebody else's private land and running into trouble with the council.
Yes.
Making sure you have public liability insurance. That's another business thing as well, for sure. Well, legal. You need to be legally covered. But not everybody knows that, to be fair. So it's an innocent mistake to make. One that I made when I first started out. And just making sure that you're covered on every angle. Get public liability insurance up to 10 million. Which there's a website that I use. Mine needs to be renewed soon. But yeah, there's a website that I think a lot of us buskers use. But I can recommend if you haven't got it already. And so that's really important, is to just make sure you're covered, but also go somewhere where you know there's going to be police regularly walking around. So I know there's always police at Harpenden. There's always police walking around Welling. St Albans is quite safe. I always feel safe there because I used to live there as well. So for me, it's like a home from home.
Right.
The irony is, you know, your daughter was saying about she doesn't want to busk in her hometown. I've never busked in my hometown. And I grew up in Letchworth. Well, I'm originally from the northwest, but that's a whole other story. Grew up in Letchworth when I was a kid. And I haven't actually ventured into Letchworth yet, even though I'd love to busk there because it's quite affluent as well. But I don't want to go there just, for the money, but it's more so just because I feel at home there, I feel safe. But there's also that risk of bumping into, I know it sounds really ridiculous, but bumping into old school bullies or, people that I'd rather not ever see again, or, because I worked there, I lived there, to be fair, most of my friends have all moved out of the area. But it would be lovely to go and busk there. But again, that's the thing that's keeping me away is bumping into blasts from the past that I don't particularly want to see. But the irony is I won't. I probably won't. It's been like 20 years.
No, you're probably maybe overthinking it a little bit, as we all do with things like that. I completely get that, not wanting to. There are people from the past that I'd rather not see because you move on with life, don't you?
Exactly.
And school can be like a hard time that you're thrown into a situation where you're spending every day with a group of people that are only in the same building because you share a postcode.
Yeah.
Not because you actually have anything in common.
So true.
Or you choose to spend time with, or they're part of your circles even of friendship or family.
Yeah.
But it's just simply because you live near each other, and
It's
so that
true.
causes some conflicts.
Yeah, that's the thing with school. I never really got on with school as well. I don't know about yourself.
No, I do. I didn't have a terrible time, but I felt out of place. I felt very much like, who am I? What am I doing here? This isn't for me.
Yeah. What is this formula?
Yeah. What is this, like, having to do this day to day and learn all these different things that I can't grasp? And I'm dyslexic.
Okay.
And that wasn't discovered at school. I was just told I was dumb by a teacher.
No.
I got that in the 90s. Dyslexia was known about. Yeah. But it wasn't treated like it is today.
It wasn't taken seriously.
It wasn't taken seriously. It was.
Wasn't treated, was it? Yeah.
No, and I did have someone come in to do a dyslexic test, and the guy that did it, he was just, he spent a day with me and just said, "No, you're behind everyone else," and he actually used the word "you're dumb."
Oh, I'm so sorry. So having words spoken like that over you as a young age is so damaging.
And you don't. And
damaging.
It's so sad that some adults don't see what they're doing.
No.
That they don't see the power that can have.
And they believe it their whole life. So I've got a similar experience in the sense that, I'm undiagnosed, much like most people, to be fair. But I have been on the waiting list for just over 2 years now for an ADHD assessment. And obviously, everybody, there's that saying, everybody's ADHD these days. But the fact is, it's not really much of a surprise, because a lot of our generation, or like you say, in the 90s, early noughties, all got missed. Anyone in the sort of, anyone 30 plus, wasn't really discovered as being neurodivergent. You were just treated like you are, you're too slow, or you're just not witty enough, or you're not quick enough, or why can't you finish an exam? Why can't you concentrate? Why are you always, being distracted? And that was me. I was always doodling. I was inattentively doodling. I wasn't one of those loud kind of outgoing kids. I was very shy, didn't have any confidence. So when I was your daughter's age, I was a mouse. I was so quiet, and I wasn't even singing publicly. So that's why I'm so in awe of your daughter. I think she's amazing. And so it's so wonderful to know that at that age you can overcome those things. Because when I was her age, and very much like a similar experience to you at school, I found school really damaging to me, and I never got the help I needed, because, to be fair, on their half, they didn't know themselves that girls, women, and boys, in terms of ADHD and neurodivergence awareness, it wasn't a thing. It was just one of those very rare things, and you were treated differently.
We had one boy at school that had ADHD, and he was the naughty kid.
Exactly.
He was the problem child. That Ben, he was the problem of the school because he had ADHD. And so they kept him separate from everyone else.
It was like a negative thing, wasn't it?
It was a negative thing, and I'd like to think that we're moving towards understanding it a bit better. And I definitely see it as a superpower to have ADHD, to have dyslexia.
Absolutely.
It is your strength. It is your.
Really is.
Again, going back to my daughter, she's waiting on an ADHD assessment.
Okay.
And she's very keen to get to understand why she thinks the way that she does. But and my son as well. My son, and he thinks differently, and I think this thinking differently thing isn't a problem. It's a blessing.
It is.
It's we may need to learn how to understand ourselves and handle the difficulties that we have, and refocus it as maybe as a tool. So it takes time, and by getting that diagnosis, you can kind of focus that learning.
Absolutely, yeah. It's such a fundamental thing in our society these days to catch those things early as well, so people don't grow up like me and you feeling like we're dumb or we're stupid or, oh, we didn't quite make the mark, because, you know, always feeling left behind because we're not clever enough. I grew up feeling like I wasn't clever because of that. I never got the help I needed, and I failed my maths twice, I think. And I ended up getting not a private tutor, as somebody out of the goodness of their own heart, when I retook my maths GCSE at college 2 years later, after GCSEs, she took her own time out of her own diary, and she actually got me I think it was a dyslexia assessment, funnily enough. I was on the cusp.
Yeah.
So I was kind of aboard. I think it was more numerical for me. And so, yeah, but that, again, that was rare then to be picked up and go, oh, something, you're a bit slow mentally, aren't you? But I think a lot of it was just me having too many thoughts at once, jamming.
Yes.
And just not being I can't understand certain things, like logical things, even though it's so ironic. Yeah, a lot of it is ironic, but it is, it's so important to celebrate our neurodivergency, celebrate creativity. A lot of creatives are neurodivergent.
I think it's what makes us creative.
Yeah.
I'm sure that the way that my brain works, the things that go on in my head contribute to being able to do what I do. Whereas whether it's this that I've discovered, I have this way of, when we're doing this podcast, when it's you talking to me right now, or another guest, or a group of people talking to me, I can picture and imagine everything you're saying. I can turn this into like a film in my mind. And
scriptwriter.
Yeah, and I've been able to do that all my life with conversations.
That's so cool.
And I didn't realise how I could put that to any use. I started putting it to use with directing theatre, because I could get the scripts, I could see what actors are doing, and I can see what I want the finished product to be.
Yeah.
But I also know that thing that I'm doing there in my mind can cause me issues as well, because it can create stories in the real world that are not true. You know, and so that's where it comes to the managing and understanding.
The business acumen of it.
Yeah,
kind of like
why does it work? Why does our brain work like this, and how can we put it to good use?
Yeah.
Rather than it being something that is, when I was younger, the way my brain worked, I was, like I say, when I was at school, I was told I was dumb. That that I was just behind everyone else. And so I was entering the adult world going, I'm not smart enough. You know. Yeah. And that's
it's so unfair, isn't it?
Yes, yeah.
To look back and go, oh, if only. Hindsight's a great thing, isn't it? But it's good to know that these days they are picking up on it now, and they are, it's now, it's almost inundated now. But I love that, because people are waking up to knowing actually it's not a negative, it's a positive, and I'm going to celebrate being different. And that's such a great thing, isn't it? To know with your kids as well, they're going to grow up really, really confident in who they are, in their identity.
I hope so. I really do hope so. I really hope that is a future that we're moving towards.
Absolutely.
That being different is a strength. It's not a weakness like it was when I was younger.
And you might not fit in, but that's okay. It's okay not to fit in. I've never fitted in. I've always been like the outsider, or the one that's never quite fitted in, never quite got the invitation, or never quite made the mark. But I'm just going to do my thing and do me, and if I'm different and I don't fit the mould, then so what,
So take me back to when you was at school then. You say you were a mouse, you say you were quiet and you didn't fit in. So how did you break free of that, if we want to could we call it shyness?
Yeah.
Of that, maybe you was a little bit overcritical of yourself at that time. How did you find a way to break free and be able to do what you do now and be out there in public singing all the time? And it's a big leap.
Yeah.
So how does that happen?
A leap of faith. It's a long story, but do you want the short story? I take it.
We got as long as it needs to be. I want to understand, how do people get over that? How do, for me, my struggle, I'm nearly 40. I turned 40 this week.
Oh,
so I'm not nearly 40, thank you.
Oh, congratulations.
So
40 is where it starts.
I'm 40, and I feel like it's taken me till my late 30s to take a leap.
Yeah.
To understand who I am and what I'm capable of doing and not be afraid. And that feels like a long time to get there. And when I was younger, I never thought it would take quite so long, but it did. It took me till nearly 40. That's your journey, though, isn't it? That's my journey, and actually, it's really important that it took that long.
Absolutely.
It's so important, and it gave me all the tools I need to get to where I need to be now.
Yeah, you wouldn't be the person you would be now if you hadn't gone through what you've gone through.
Exactly. So I'm interested in how describing yourself as a mouse. That's not how you come across now.
I know. I literally went so far the opposite way. Once I found my voice, I was like, I'm never going to stop talking.
So did it happen? Did it happen overnight? Did it?
I wish. I don't know. Maybe I would have needed some calming drugs if it had happened overnight. But I think it's just that part of the hyperactivity in me. Maybe it comes out, but a lot of it happens in my head. To be fair.
Okay.
But yeah, a lot of it was go back about 20 years. So I was doing my GCSEs, and I was very shy. I wasn't enjoying school. I was being bullied. I was this little singer in my room at home, hoping and dreaming one day to publicly sing my own songs and be on stage. There's a whole other side to it as well where so I'm a Christian, so for me a lot of my journey started off in the church as well and being in the church band, but again a lot of it was my confidence issues, also waiting for the invitation from leadership to do that. And so back in the day, I had no confidence to put myself forward because I felt so low about myself. My self-image and my self-esteem was non-existent. I think a lot of it stems back even further to coming from a broken home, just for myself, like from a very young age, and having almost negative experiences in my childhood that were quite traumatic. So it caused me to withdraw a lot, and then getting bullied at school. Lack of friendships, that kind of thing, feeling very lonely at school, misunderstood is definitely the word. And so that all compiled caused me to just shut down and think I wasn't worth anything. So getting out of that, digging myself out of that and trying to, get myself out of that dark hole. And it was like a depression. I just think looking back, you label it as depression, but a lot of it, you look back and a lot of it's just self-image issues, and it is, teenage depression, fighting that, there's two voices in your head telling you, oh, you're not good enough, and then you're having to fight that, and you're having to fight back, and a lot of it's been a journey of that. It's been a battle in my mind. A lot of it has been a mental battle, just quieting those evil voices in my head, telling me that I'm not worth it, telling me that, oh, I'm not good enough, or, oh, you'll never be able to do that, or feeling like, the ship sailed because I'm not 25 anymore, And, but funnily enough, I spent most of my late teens and early 20s not singing publicly. So I joined a choir. I was at the church choir maybe a few times. But at home this whole time I was a secret bedroom performer, playing, in a secret place, writing songs in a secret place. Even my first job on the checkout at Morrison's, I was writing song lyrics on the till receipt paper.
Wow. So something inside of you was dying to come out. It wanted to burst out of you, but there was this kind of like negative reinforcement from external factors, the school, your parents separating, and and the leadership wasn't there. There was no one pushing you to move forward.
In a way, yeah. Not to sound like there wasn't anyone championing me, because my grandparents were championing me, my mum was championing me, but my mum was also doing her own thing as well. So both my parents are musicians, so my mum was doing her own music thing, so I was sort of cheering her on because she waited to do it all her life. So I was really happy to see her shining, and so I was happy supporting my mum. But I know my mum did encourage me too, but I was so painfully shy and had no confidence, and a couple of people at the time did sort of encourage me. So I tried out and played the piano in the band, but there was no kind of follow-up. because either people left or people just disappeared, or there was just no follow-up in leadership for me. So not to say that those people let me down, because at the end of the day, if I'd had the courage and confidence in myself, or just self-awareness or assertiveness, maybe I could have pushed myself. But I didn't learn how to push myself until much later on, until my late 20s. And so I felt like I spent a whole decade in the dark, literally. Decade in the dark, feeling ignored, feeling overlooked, feeling like nobody cared that I could sing, nobody cared that I could play piano, but then nobody knew. Nobody knew because I didn't tell anyone apart from my family, that was it. Maybe the odd friend. And so I did little things here and there for, like, you know, friends and family occasionally, but it wasn't like a public thing, or it was mainly like assisting my mum with worships, and my mum would play the violin, I'd play piano, but I'd be ever so quiet and apologetic about it, like, oh, I don't know, I feel scared that I'm being exposed. And but there was always that heart's desire to be in the church band and do the worship side of things, and for me I was like, you know, I've always felt called to that, and so that's where the journey began. And I was also carrying on writing songs in the background, you know, non-church songs, you know, just kind of commercial styles, and so for me it's just been a massive journey. And then I started to learn how to produce my own music as well in my mid-20s. So it's been nearly, 9 years or so I've been trying to learn how to produce music, and I've been trying to improve every single year, and so that's part and parcel of the journey too. So I eventually, one of the old churches I used to be a part of, in the end I grew up the courage to ask the leaders there, do you need anyone to play piano? Do you need anyone in the team to play keys? And so in the end they were like, yeah, because I was waiting for the invitation. I was waiting for, you know, somebody to go, oh Beth, come on, you should totally do this, and waiting for somebody to believe in me, and I've never had that. So that's why I guess I'm one of those people now in my older adult years where it's, if I see somebody, I want to champion them, I want to cheer them on.
Because you know what value that has, you know how important that is.
Absolutely, I want to be that person that I never had. You know, I know you probably feel the same way as well. Like, you want to be that champion for younger you, you know, you want to see a younger version of you and go, I want to cheer you on, you know. Be that encourager that you never really had when you needed it. Not to say I didn't have encouragement, because I was following a whole other story here, but I was following a design path, so art and design route. That's what I did for my degree in the end. I did a design degree, and I have a talent for drawing and painting and creating in that sense as well. So that's what I went off to do instead, because I didn't feel I was ever going to make it as a musician. It was a pipe dream. I dreamed of being in bands since I was a teenager, but then I just had absolutely no idea how that was going to happen. I had no way of even knowing how to even start. So I went down the art and design route. Most of my 20s was spent interning at fashion houses, eventually getting a fashion job. Part and parcel of kind of how also this began, of how I did my singing, eventually found the confidence to do that, was my fashion job ended up firing me. And I look back at it now and I laugh, but at the time it was really traumatic, because I'd spent so long working hard to get this design job in the industry, and I'd worked so hard, and harder than probably most people. I was cleaning toilets and cleaning houses, and good, because it was right in the recession, so I was taking any job. And so it was really hard to work on a floor full of women. There was a few lovely ones, but I found it really difficult, because
what kind of thing was difficult about it? What was it? Was it the job, or was it because it wasn't quite you?
It wasn't quite me, I think. Yeah, it was very cliquey. In the fashion industry anyway, there's always going to be, you know, those catty women who kind of clique together, and you, again, as usual, I was the outcast. So I think it's because my face didn't fit as well, and I did enjoy the work because I'd worked so hard to get there, but unfortunately it just wasn't meant to be, and there was a lot of favouritism, but I don't hold that against anybody, and you know, maybe my work wasn't up to scratch as well, and that's cool. Maybe I just didn't fit the brand, and that's cool as well. It's like the same in music as well. Sometimes your voice doesn't fit the style of certain things. So anyway, through no fault of my own, I got fired, sadly, because I just put it as my face didn't fit. And so so as a result of that, though, that enabled me to then really look at my life and go, whoa, okay, so this did not work out for me. This is not working. I even went for a few more interviews in the design industry afterwards, bruised and broken me, and I was thinking, do you know what? I didn't get any of the jobs, and I thought, maybe this just isn't right for me. And in the end, I remember even sending an email back to one of the people who rejected me and going, you know what, you're right. I don't suit this role, actually, you're right. I've never done that before. And normally I'd be like, oh, they rejected me. But I went back and I went, do you know what, I think you're right. I don't particularly fancy working for you anyway, you know.
Yeah.
I took back control and I was like, yeah, this is an interview. I'm interviewing you as well. Just because you're interviewing me for your position doesn't mean that, you know, I should be quite within my rights to interview you as well and see whether I want to spend, you know, 48 hours of my week sat in this place.
Exactly. Potentially a huge portion of your life could be spent with those people.
Yeah.
So that's a really important aspect to look at. And I said that to my son's going out for job interviews at the moment.
Oh yeah.
And I said a very similar thing to him, that when you're in there, make sure you have questions.
Yeah.
Because you're going to be spending a lot of time there. So
Yeah.
you need to want to be there.
Yeah, you
you know.
do. It's so important. It's such a commitment as well, because it's about your mental health, and it's so important. Like, it's your growth as a person, and it's especially at that young age as well as your son. It's so important that you mix with the right people who can influence you as a person, because you're like a sponge at that age. And I think your son's age, I was working on the checkout at Morrison's, so I was surrounded by all these amazing women and their life stories, and I was just like soaking in every little bit, you know. And it's funny how I still remember all their names and faces. Yeah, I can't remember anything nowadays. I still remember even the codes of the cucumbers and the lemons I used to have to type in. So it's so important to get the right job, even your first job. Just make sure it's the right environment for you. Make sure that they're the right people that are good for your soul. And so I was really very grateful and thankful to have that at that age. So yeah. But again, that was building up. That also built up my people skills.
Yes.
When I was working on the checkout, customer service.
You're having to. You can't just sit back and something like that. You do.
Yeah.
You have to engage with people, don't you, on the tills?
Yeah. So that for me was like, going back to your earlier question, how did you start, you know, getting the confidence to do this? I have to say, all credit to Morrison's in that respect. That really did bring me out my shell. And that really did, and that allowed me to connect with total strangers as well and grow. And I just ended up chatting to so many people and hearing their stories, and it was just wonderful. And that really brought me out my shell. And so that's part and parcel of, I keep using that phrase, don't I? Part and parcel. Maybe that should be the name of my new album or something.
The episode title of this.
Oh yeah, there you go.
There you go.
Yeah, fresh delivery, part and parcel. Yeah, so, and then eventually, yeah, going back to what we were saying earlier, so all of that combined, the growing confidence in my first job, and also just getting loads of retail experience. I had loads of other retail jobs as well, working in customer service, working in call centres and everything, which is ironically where I went straight into. I worked for a PPI business straight after I got fired. So I probably wasn't ready to go back to work because I was so traumatised by the whole thing. I'd literally lost my flat that I'd moved into. I was going to the job centre every single day to sign on. But the good thing is that it enabled me to move closer to my then boyfriend, who's now my husband, because we were having a long distance relationship for like nearly 2 years. And so it was really nice to finally live, like this is when I moved to St Albans, it was really nice to actually live right around the corner from him for the first time in like 5 years. So yeah, it was really lovely to have that. So there was always a blessing in disguise. There's always, you know, silver linings to every cloud. And I'm a great believer that everything happens for a reason. So I just picked the first job I could find. I'm surprised I even got an interview, to be honest, and I ended up in this PPI job. But in this environment, that showed me that I can have friends in a work environment, because before that, my faith in any workplace to make friends, apart from maybe Morrison's, anywhere else after that, it's just been damaging. And being in that fashion industry job, I really struggled to make friends there, but everybody else seemed to be friends and hanging out, going away together, and I was cool with that. I was like, okay, I don't need to fit in, I'm just here to do a job. I'm just going to turn up, do my thing, go home, get paid. Cool, you know. But there was that kind of like, oh, if you don't hang out with us though, you're not really in the gang. Do you know what I mean? And it did kind of rub off on the work that was chosen as well.
I had a job that I only lasted there 3 months because that was the culture. The culture was an advertising company. It was, if you don't come with us for a drink at the end of every day and get drunk every night, you're not part of this, and you're on the outside of the clique, and essentially, you don't fit in here. And I was like, well, fine.
Fine.
I don't want. I've got 2 young children at home. I don't want to be spending my wages on going out and getting pissed before I get home. You might want to do that, but that's not for me.
Exactly. Yeah. It's such an immature way as running a business as well. It's like it's so unfair. And it's so what's the word? Sorry, no, I'm rubbish at words sometimes. Discriminative. Yeah. Discriminative, isn't it? And
it's quite an outdated culture, I think.
Really is.
But it does still go. It does still go on. It still happens. It still happens.
Yeah.
And I guess it's important in a business to build a culture, to build, to build a tribe of people that are going to work for you. But it's finding something that works for different types of people and making sure people don't feel excluded is quite important within this. And that company don't exist anymore. That company has disappeared as far as I know now. So it didn't work long term for them. They might have had some small, short success. Yeah. But then it disappeared.
And it just dissipated, yeah.
So I want to go back a little bit, a few steps, because you told me you spoke about a calling that you have, and you had this dream from a young age, but it took you a while to listen to the calling or to fulfill the calling. So at what point did you go, I'm going to listen to this now, I'm going to move forward with this? Because I think I've personally had a calling that I tried not to listen to.
Okay.
That I tried not, because I didn't understand how that would fit.
Yeah, you're like, how is this possible? How could this even work?
How does this even work? And maybe I was asking too many questions.
Yeah.
So I wonder if that is connected to your faith in any way. You with the church. What does the church say on? You said you're a Christian.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what does your faith say on listening to your calling?
That's such a good question, actually. It's so important because so many of us get caught up in like, oh, I must have all these material things, I must reach this certain status of my career and a certain profession, but I guess from a Christian perspective, it's not about material things, it's about just purpose and serving others. So for me, it's like, how can I use my life to serve other people? How can I use the gifts that God has given me to use what I have to influence the world for the better? And how can I make the world a better place, Mm-hmm. And so for me, that's kind of the angle I try to look at, like, God, use me, just use me, I'm here, hello. And that hasn't always been the case, I felt so, even in Christianity, there's so many cliques and circles and you feel outcast. And even the music industry, it's the same, it's the music business, and so for me, it's been it's just been, because I guess the fashion industry toughened me up for this, the rejection and your face not fitting in certain circles, and it's the same wherever you are. But so for me, I think with the Christian thing though, I have a lot to thank for the Christian community, because they did encourage me when I eventually got into the worship band in my late 20s. And then the team were really lovely and supportive, and my husband was playing drums, so we both did that together. It was a really nice community thing, and it was something we did together. And eventually, it was only really until lockdown came along, because my husband's very techie, we were the only ones who sort of had the equipment at home to go live and do the worship online. Mm-hmm. And so I wasn't actually leading the team or being or what you call a worship leader at the time. And so I knew there was a calling on my heart to do that, and I was like, but I've always known that for years, but I've just been waiting for somebody to invite me. I've been waiting for somebody to call me to do that, because I feel like, who am I to step into that unless God's like shone a light on me and gone, you child shall be a worship leader,
But isn't the calling the invitation?
That's that's so true.
Is the calling not the invitation? It's hard. It's hard because we're kind of in this materialistic world where there's so many voices happening. But I think that just came to me. The calling is the invitation.
The calling is the invitation.
That's the quote for today.
That's the quote for
from
today.
Me anyway.
I love that. Yeah, copyright.
Copyright that.
But no. That's really a real epiphany for me as well, what you've just said, because it's like, wow, yeah.
Cause
invite yourself.
Because if you have faith that there is a God,
yeah,
God gave you this calling.
Yeah.
God gave you this dream for a reason. So why are we waiting on external other voices?
Yeah.
To invite us?
Why waste time?
Yeah.
I wasted so many years waiting for external validation from other people, from leadership, because I was looking up to leadership to reach down and go, yes, child, come and use your gifts. We believe in you. And not to say that didn't happen, but it just didn't happen with my music, potentially. Maybe my mum a bit, but like, to be fair, it was just one of those things where I don't know whether the church, I don't want to say they're to blame, but a lot of that culture is there. There's not that kind of like, oh guys, we're looking out for the next, musician to be here. Maybe some churches are, maybe I just didn't have the good experience. But I just felt like I was completely overlooked and I guess because I didn't know how to put myself out there. I hadn't been shown how to, go, hi, I can do this, let me do this, I would like to do this, and put myself out there and be all about like, yes, me. Because in Christianity, it's not about that. So for me, it was like, it's not about me though, so why? But then some people are like that. So I'm like, so how do I get past that? And so in the end, I thought, do you know what? Like, again, the calling is the invitation. And when COVID came along, I was like, I'm going to put myself forward to lead the worship for the church then, because if nobody else can do it. And again, it's sad that it had to take a pandemic for that to happen, for me to finally go, right, okay, maybe there's an opportunity here. Not that I was looking for one all this time, I was waiting for somebody to believe in me, to go, hey Beth, why don't you lead this song? Why don't you do this? And it just didn't happen. And it's so frustrating. Maybe it's because the leader in me, because I genuinely believe God's called me to be a leader, to help other people as well. I just never had that for myself. So for me, I'm like, it's so important that I lead other people who are younger or whatever age to believe in themselves, to know if they've got a gift, I want them to, make sure that they put themselves forward, that they believe in themselves enough to go, I'll do it, no matter what age they are. And so
you're demonstrating here how important it is to have faith in yourself first, in order for you to do things for others. Yeah. Because it's not about me. Yeah. That's a phrase that I use a lot. Oh, right. And that's something that I say to myself. This isn't about me. Yeah. And that gives me a lot of freedom. Yeah. As well, that takes away a lot of that negativity, that negative self-talk.
Like getting out of your own head and everything.
Getting out of your own head. That this podcast, this is about you. And this is about whoever the guest
is. About everybody else who's listening.
If anyone else does listen, it's about raising others up. Yes. Along the way, and in doing so, I've started to discover that raises me up.
You raise me. Sorry, everything's a song.
So So it's just it's just the way that this is all working. I just find it incredibly fascinating. The way that when we make it not about us.
Yeah. And that's where a lot of blessings in disguise come after, like a lot of things just lead into other things, and that's how you meet the most incredible people as well. From a faith perspective, it's like allowing God to use you. He can open doors, and then you see, you have opportunities only He can create, or some people might call it the universe, however you want to call it, that's up to you. However you describe your life, however you make sense of the world. But for me personally, it's about how can God use me to then impact total strangers through busking or through my music, through songs, or just through a conversation in the street, just at the checkout, or just whatever, going swimming, chatting to somebody in the next lane, about the weather. And so for me, it's just things like that, like personal things, and so eventually over the COVID period I grew my confidence online, because I didn't have to worry about a room of total strangers looking at me and judging me. Not that people do that anyway in the church, but
no, but it's that going back to that self-talk. Yes, at some point in there you tell yourself, if there's the people are there in front of you, they're going to be thinking about me in that moment and making a judgment. And
exactly, like you're exposed, and like, oh my gosh, everyone can see me.
So I've heard this quite a bit actually, that there was quite a lot of positive for people in that time of COVID. That took them away from the way the world was working, and it gave them moments of pause, and it gave you an opportunity to be in a different type of situation, which could open yourself up.
Yeah, it was such a blessing, even though it was a sad time, because it was a blessing in disguise, COVID, for a lot of people, because they suddenly were doing the 9 to 5, run, rat race. All of a sudden, world shuts down. Oh, my job isn't my identity anymore. Oh, wait a minute, it never was. My identity isn't in a 9 to 5 in a, industrial estate, sitting in an office with bars over the windows. That was literally what I was doing before. And I left my job actually just before COVID hit. And, it was a good job, but I knew it wasn't right for me. And so I felt all my energy was being sucked. But it was only when COVID hit, I was like, wow, thank goodness. I mean, ironically, I was in between jobs. I was actually job searching when COVID hit. And I think the whole reason why I believe God took me out of a work situation was to prepare me to be available to do music. I always knew that even when I got fired back in 2017, that's when I knew I need to do music. But I just didn't have the confidence, so it took me even a couple more years after that. But I knew when 2020 hit, that was it. I was like, this is it. This is the year I'm starting my music career. Whether it's with the church or not, I'm going to do it. I'm not waiting for leadership to give me the okay. I am just going to do it. And so,
what's the difference between knowing and not knowing you're doing the right thing? I think I know the answer to this.
Yeah.
Because I feel like I kind of have found it, but I think it's important that we talk about it. What's the difference for you?
So knowing that I'm doing the right thing is just having that peace in my heart, just feeling like I'm comfortable and I don't feel uncomfortable. And that it's not hurting anybody and I'm not hurting myself. And also having just that fulfillment, that joy. And it's like if you have doubt, then you know you're doing the wrong thing. If it feels bad, you know you're doing the wrong thing. And so for me it's just like having that peace for me, and I just had total peace and also almost like laser focus, like you almost have a premonition, you can kind of almost see and vision. It's having that vision, like what Denzel Washington says about if you can see it, you've done it already, I think that's it. Sorry if I'm not quoting word for word, but that really stuck with me actually. Me and my husband like to go back to that when we think about our future and our dreams. And
well, I'm listening to Arnold Schwarzenegger's most recent book.
Oh yeah.
Be Useful. I may have given it. Be Useful.
Yeah. It's not called I'll Be Back.
No, it's not called. No, he's done that. He's done that one. That was a few years ago. That was more like his biography. The I'll Be Back. But yeah, no, it is Be Useful. Arnold Schwarzenegger, Be Useful, and he talks about that, about having a vision, having a like in your mind, know where it is that you're going.
Yeah.
And
have a destination.
Have a destination, and it doesn't have to be completely in focus. It can be a little bit blurry, but know where it is you're heading to. So in that space for you, that you have a vision now, we'll get onto what that vision is in a moment, but how does that make you feel having the vision?
It makes me feel like I have purpose, and that's so important to know, because I believe everybody has purpose in this world. Even if somebody thinks they're useless and they're like, no, I haven't got any gifts, I haven't got anything, I believe everybody has a reason that why they're put on this earth. And having that purpose and knowing that you're trying to make your way to fulfilling that, even if it's impossible, it feels impossible, like in the most difficult industry. But like, it's just believing, like you say, believing in yourself, having faith in yourself, going back to what you said earlier. And like, if you don't have faith in yourself first, how can, God or whatever it is you believe in, how can you be used in your life to help other people if you don't love yourself first? You've got to learn to love yourself as well. And I think that all comes in with your purpose as well. Like, you're only going to really want to strive for better for yourself and aim towards fulfilling your life's purpose, if you believe in yourself, if you love yourself enough to believe that you've got what it takes. That's what I lacked. I lacked that until recently. What you were kind of saying yourself a little bit in terms of like only figuring out kind of how to execute certain things in later life. And I think I'm similar, because I struggle with confidence, and it's only really until I hit my 30s, early 30s, now mid-30s, about turning 37 soon. So on the uphill climb. So for me, I'm like, I haven't got time to waste anymore. I haven't got time for immaturity. I haven't got time to get in my own way. I'm through with not believing in myself. I'm through with self-doubt. I've had enough. I'm in zero tolerance mode of zero tolerance to BS, to put it bluntly. I'm sorry, I don't want to say the full word, but you know what I mean. But yeah, it's literally, I haven't got time for people sucking me of their energy, other people trying to take advantage of my goodwill, of the fact that I am a good listener, that I will encourage people. But then at the same time, it's like, don't take me for a ride. You know, I'm not your therapist. I'm not, you know, I will encourage you, but don't look to me for validation all the time, because that's sucking me of energy. Because I wasted so much of my life looking to other people for validation to do what I want to do in my life. And it's so toxic. It's such a toxic thing to do. And if I could go back and change one thing, I would change that, because I wish somebody had told me that actually, Beth, you don't need to look to others for validation. But I'm so glad to hear that the younger generation now have already figured that out anyway.
I hope so. Maybe it will take time, and maybe we have to go through that a little bit. Like I say, maybe for me, I realised that the struggles that I've been through were, whilst they were struggles and whilst there were hard times, it was important to get me to where I am now and to how I'm moving forward now.
Yes.
I had to go through all that.
Yeah. It made you stronger.
Made me stronger, and it prepared me for whatever's next.
Yeah.
But before we get on to moving forward, I'd like to take a pause for a moment.
Yeah, sure.
Just to have like a 2-minute break.
Yeah, sure.
And then we'll jump back in, and we'll talk a little bit about that vision that we've got. Is that okay?
Yeah,
Yeah, great.
Yeah.
Let's take a pause for a second. That coffee has gone straight through me.
Oh, has it?
That's the only problem with me having coffee. Yeah.
That's all right. I'm really sorry. Is this like going over time?
No, this is perfect.
Are you sure? How long have you been going for?
I haven't. We'll have a look. Like I said, let's keep it relaxed. We've done 1 hour and 10 minutes.
Oh gosh, okay.
Yeah, no, that's good. So I've done the longest one of these I've done is 3.5 hours.
Oh my gosh.
And that was my brother.
Oh, really? Oh, it's all right. I won't keep you much longer anyway.
No, this is good. This is what I do.
This sofa's so comfy. I don't like to pause if I can help it, but No,
like I say, that coffee.
No, sorry, it's my bad. Really, it was my fault for suggesting.
Well, I do drink coffee. I do have a coffee at the beginning of most days, but I shouldn't really before the podcast, because it will make me need to go to to the toilet.
There we go.
But, yeah, we're back in. So can we do a 3, 2, 1 and clap again?
Yes.
Because what that does, it actually helps sync the audio and the video
of course.
together. It gives me like a little marker.
Yeah, that's cool.
And then it became a tradition. So
when I do that with my vocals, actually, I tap the microphone, so I always look for the 3 taps.
so you know where the peak
Yeah.
is. So this is so here we go. 3, 2, 1. And we're back in. Thanks, Beth.
I got rhythm.
So of course. Here we are. So where were we? We've gone through your journey a bit, and we've discovered that that the power for following your path comes from self-belief and having faith in yourself.
Yeah.
Rather than looking for that external validation.
Yeah, 100% in a nutshell. The only one that I would look to for validation, really, because of my faith, is God. He's the only one that has, because he created me. So therefore he knows me better than I know myself. And I know he loves me. And therefore I find validation in who I am, in my identity, in who I am as a Christian. But ultimately, I need to be 100% assertive in who I am, because I'm called to have a sound mind and I have a plan and purpose for my life. Therefore, I have to live out that, and I need to be bold and stand firm in who I am. And that comes with being, believing in who I am and having faith in myself, loving who I am. And how can I love others if I don't love myself? And how can I be used in this world if I don't look after myself first? Charity begins at home.
yeah, and you need that and that's the fuel that can drive you forward and make you of use to others.
Yeah,
because what use are you to others?
Yeah.
If you don't do anything in this world, and if you don't believe in yourself, and
exactly.
Some people in this world. I had a friend recently that he was like a rock, couldn't move, couldn't do anything. Such a beautiful person.
Yeah.
And he had so much to offer this world, but he didn't want to move. He didn't want to progress in life. He just wanted everything to stay exactly the same. And I guess there's comfort in that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
But I realised I couldn't be around that too much.
Yeah.
Because I couldn't be a rock, because I needed to kind of flow. I needed to move forward. I needed to be more like I kind of see it as I needed to be like a river.
Yeah.
And I need to keep moving forward to be of use to people.
Absolutely.
To be able to do my thing. I can't stay still. So how do you see yourself moving forward by not being a rock and being more like a river, perhaps?
That sounds like a cool name for a song.
It does, doesn't it?
Don't
Maybe we're coming up with. Maybe that's the purpose of today, for me to give you inspiration for new songs.
My new album coming out in 2025. I'm really checking it. What album? Have no funding for an album. What was the question again? Sorry.
Yeah, about moving forward. Yeah, about moving forward. How do we move forward with our purpose? How do we keep following the path then?
Oh yeah, that's it. Just through hard work, laser focus, I think, and creating opportunities for yourself and not writing yourself off. Because I wrote myself off way before I even began. And I think that's the issue a lot of us have. Like your good friend, he's probably written himself off before he's even given himself a chance at life. And there is safety and comfort in not expanding and having that familiarity around you. I have so much respect for anyone who can move across the world and follow their dreams. Like I've got so many friends now who live in London, who've moved from Australia, from Europe. And they're so brave, and I really admire that, and I've got so much respect for anyone who can just get up, uproot their life, move to another country and start again. I think that's incredible. And I think younger version of me, I did have that fire in me. I did want to move away, but I just couldn't afford it. I had no money. This was like in the fashion industry. I wanted to move to New York and work in fashion there. But sadly, and I always had an opportunity to go to Italy.
Sorry, I'm just going to move that closer.
Sorry,
when it's pointing over, they're quite directional.
Oh, sorry.
You don't have to talk into it.
Okay. So for me, sadly, I just had no money. Not saying that's entirely because I come from a single parent family, but it has a part to play in it. So for me, financially, it wasn't an option, so therefore I missed out. But as I do feel like I had that fire in my belly. But obviously my life's gone a different way, and that's cool, because I do believe everything happens for a reason. So that's why I think it's so important, to just be brave. You've got to be brave, create opportunities for yourself, like those of my friends who have had the guts and the balls to move so far away to make something. And I really admire that. Anyone who can do that, to take themselves out of their familiar comfort zone, pick themselves up, put them into a completely alien environment. I think that's so brave, and I hope that the world can be a bit more like all those amazing people who do that. Or it doesn't have to be moving country, it can be moving to a new town, or just doing something completely polar opposite to what you're used to doing, pushing the boundaries, and just doing something completely different to what that you're used to doing. And I think for me, I'm an adventurer in my spirit. The thought of staying in the same town, like, for me, is like, oh no, I need to move away, I need to do something, I need to just go and live somewhere here for a bit. And even now I've got itchy feet. I'm like, because all my life I've spent living, like, I think just from circumstances growing up, we've always moved from house to house to house to house. I've never lived in a place longer than 4 years. So for me, this is coming up to 4 years next year in our house, which I'm very grateful to say. Before that, I was just living rented accommodation all my life with my mum and my brothers, and then hopping from one flat share or overpriced rented place, or bedstead at one time, and just trying to find a place to call home. And I think that's it as well, is find your place, find the environment that is comfortable to you but also uncomfortable. Don't box yourself off, don't cut yourself off, don't write yourself off. Like I said, I'm just repeating myself.
No, it's fine. It's actually helping me a bit, because I've got this question for myself. That I have this urge to go out into the world more. I am going out into the world a bit. I have recently come back from the Edinburgh Fringe Festival, and this podcast has moved from the town in which I live into London. And so I'm breaching out, but I want to breach out more. I want to travel more. But I've got a family here. I've got I've got teenagers. I was going to say young children. They wouldn't like that. I've got teenagers that I want to make sure that I'm still around and part of their life. So I'm kind of got this question at the moment about myself, of how do I get out into the world more than I am right now, bearing in mind I've got responsibilities. I think it's really admirable as well, that you put your family first, and that's the way it should be at the end of the day. And I think obviously if you're young enough to not have kids or be settled down or have a mortgage, the world's your oyster. Take advantage of that. So when like going back to when you were young, or I was young, if only we'd have found that confidence sooner. If only, or the paycheck. or the paycheck to be able to. But then even not having the income, just having the confidence to be out there in the world can move you forward in leaps and bounds, can't it? Yeah, it really can. It's so before the responsibilities hit. Yeah, it really is, because I think as millennials we grew up with this mindset of we must get the degree, we must meet the person. Well, that's what we were being told. Yeah, exactly. This is the formula of your life. This is the way your life's going to play out, because every generation before you, this was there. This is the way it happened. This is the way it worked. But we've suddenly realised, even in the last, I'd say 15, 20 years, maybe even less, this isn't the way, this is never supposed to be like this. No. We weren't meant to live our lives. Well, they tried to build a social contract, I believe after the Second World War, going into the 40s and 50s, the governments of the Western society started to say to us, right, if you go to school, you behave well, you'll get a car, you'll get a house, you'll get a family, you'll get holidays, you'll be able to have food on the table. But then somewhere in the last 20 years, that all started to fall apart. And we started to see that those people following those paths were were depressed and unhappy, and
wasn't fulfilling them.
It wasn't fulfilling them. There was some people fulfilled within that,
Yeah.
but there was also a lot of people that wasn't fulfilled in that. And now we've got to a place where no one can afford to live in those homes we were promised.
Yeah.
No one can afford to run those cars that we were promised.
Yeah.
There's food banks within every town and village and city in this country where everyone's having to help each other to eat.
Yeah.
And so the system and the promise has been broken.
Yeah.
But maybe, whereas a lot of us are viewing that as a negative thing, maybe there's a lot of positive to come from that.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. Yeah, that's a really good point, because with the brokenness of society and the cost of living crisis that we're in, and over the years, I think it's just the population as well. Like, not to bring politics into it, but a lot of it is to do, I think, with the population and just being able to, if it's stuck in traffic and things like that, and just I think the overwhelmingness of society, and we just want to break free of the rat race because we're so tired, we're so burnt out, and I follow another podcast called Millennial Burnout, actually. Definitely recommend listening to it, and I've also spoken on that as a guest, and it's an amazing podcast where it talks about being burnt out of the millennial, expectations that we put on ourselves, and the image that we created for ourselves growing up, like our level of productivity, and kind of like defines our value and who we are, but actually it's so opposite, because we're waking up to realise that if we don't have a job that defines us anymore, we don't need a job to define us. Who we are is, we define ourselves. Who we are is who we are. So I'm like randomly, I don't know,
no,
my words aren't flowing.
No, this is making complete sense to me. No,
and so so it's all about us just waking up, snapping out of that false promise that we were promised. There, go to university, settle down, get a mortgage, you can afford money to put aside every month, you'll be more comfortable if you have get on the property ladder, and it's just a load of nonsense. It really is. I think you're freer actually now, if you're, I wouldn't say you're freer renting, but you're probably freer in terms of like your life direction if you are renting, because you can just literally give notice, pack up and move. But the only downside is that it's more expensive to rent, but only narrowly more now, because mortgages are so much higher now. Me and my husband very thankfully managed to get on the property ladder, but it's for us as well. We do wonder sometimes, we're not paying much more difference to what we were paying when we were renting. At least we own it now. At least we can bang a nail in the wall.
I have no ambitions at all to own. I do not want to be confined to that 20, 30 year payment.
Exactly.
For what then? It's the end of my life, and then there's some bricks that can be passed down to my kids, and actually the government will take a huge portion of that anyway. So it doesn't make sense to me.
And it's not the way
and
forward.
It's not making sense to a lot of people are questioning that.
I don't blame people for feeling that way. No. Even now, since we got the house, me and my husband are even questioning, why do we want to? It's stability for us. It's security for us. We're happy to have it. We're very thankful, but at the same time, we are thinking, okay, so now we've signed ourselves up to, like you say, 25 years of payments, and it's like. My husband, bless him, he takes pretty much most of the responsibility for that, because I don't always earn enough financially myself, and being a starving musician, and but I do other jobs as well to try and get by, and I pay my way, but at the same time he takes most of the brunt force of that, and thankfully he's in a great career. He loves his career. He's a software engineer. He really enjoys it. He gets a reasonably respectable wage, and so we're thankful for that. But at the same time, it's like he knows that he's kind of committed to that now, and so. But sometimes we do wonder, if only we could uproot, and what if we could do this, or what if we could do that? Oh, wait, we've got a mortgage, we've got to stay here, And it's, for me, who I've got itchy feet, I'm an adventurer. I've grown up moving from place to place every 4 years of my life, or even less. So for me, this is the first time in my life I have to stay put, and I'm like,
What am I going to do?
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, I need to move somewhere.
There is still, there is still opportunity to break free of that mortgage, and we're going to have a song. You can sing if you like. We can do a performance. But there is, it's not chains and a prison cell having a mortgage.
No.
But it does give you some responsibilities. And it's good that you're in a relationship where your husband can support you following your craft. And there will be some people that may listen to this that go, oh, them artists, they feel they can be free in life. Well, I have to earn money. But I think it's important that we do have choice. And I think it's time for the conversation to change.
Yes.
I think the world has changed from when, like I say, this kind of society started after the Second World War. This promise started nearly 100 years ago of how we should all do life. And it's not working for a majority. If it was working for a majority, there wouldn't be food banks. There wouldn't be people that can't put their heating on. So something is wrong. So I think it's time that we need to change the conversation. That we need to start saying how there must be another way to do this.
Absolutely.
For us all to live a fulfilling life. And maybe we need to focus more on that purpose.
Yeah, 100%. And I think it's our generation that have been the real catalyst in that. They say that millennials are the lost generation, but actually I think we're one of the main catalysts in making that change and having the boldness to stand up and show Gen Z, Gen Alpha, this is how it's done, guys. We're not going to live like the rest of them. Actually, I think I have a lot of admiration for Gen Z. They're very ballsy. They're very business minded, and I love that because I think they looked at us and went, we're not sitting in an office 9 to 5, stuff that, I'm going to have my own business.
Yeah.
And I think that it took a lot of millennials to do that first, and to go, much like yourself, be entrepreneurial, have that entrepreneurial spirit. I think programs like Dragon's Den are brilliant. We've been brought up on that.
Yes, yeah.
And so I'm so thankful to programs like that, because I'm like, that gave me that desire to be a businesswoman, because being a musician, going back to music and stuff, you have to be business minded, because it's music business.
Yeah.
So you have to treat it like a business. Therefore, I'm like, I've got the Beth Merill brand, but it's, again, I kind of cringe because I'm like, it's not about me though. I'm like,
But it has to be to make the business out of it work.
Yeah, I have to sell myself.
Yes,
It's like, hey, buy me, pick me, like Donkey from Shrek, pick me. That's literally how it feels most of the time. And it's like the Hunger Games, applying for job opportunities, even applying for gig festival. We were saying about this earlier, like even slots at festivals.
Yes.
It feels like the Hunger Games, and unless you've been on a talent TV show or something, and you've got that kind of credit to your name, it's hard to be noticed. So I can't be like Beth
because of those producers putting the thing together are interested in the money, and they want a sure thing.
Exactly.
Don't they? They're not looking to take many gambles.
Money talks.
And
status and all that, and or who you know. A lot of it's who you know. Like, it's nepotism. A lot of it's, my mate of this and that. Oh yeah, we'll get them in. Yeah, no worries. No audition needed. We'll get you in. But then you get people like me who are from working class backgrounds, who've had to fight to get to where they are, and are a hard grafter. I've got the talent, got the ability. I finally believe in myself. Maybe 10 years a bit later, but that's okay. And it's like, I feel like I'm left behind, even though the irony is we were talking about us as a society in our generation moving forward and actually, switching up the paradigm, which I like to call, it's one of my songs, plugging my own song, but like switching up the paradigm of what the narrative's
That's
always
what I was
been.
listening to just before you
arrived.
Yes.
Oh, right. I hope you liked it.
It's great. Great positive energy.
Yeah, that's what I like to be all about. But yeah, so that's essentially my heart is, it's all about challenging the norms, overcoming obstacles, rising up out of the ashes of the past. And I think that's the story that I'm trying to tell through my songs, and I'm trying to help other people just imagine what life could be if you believed in yourself and if you didn't do things the way you've always done it. Like, let's actually switch it up and let's change it, and let's change the narrative why do things the way we've always done? Why do the 9 to 5? Why sit in an office all day? Yeah, you've got to make a living, yes, that's fine. Yeah, I'll happily go back to that if I have to. You know, I'm not against that. I'm not boo-booing that. There's many people who are very happy doing that. I'm very thankful that one of my jobs I get to work from home. So I'm really thankful for that. The flexible hours, that works so well. And I'm so thankful that I have that. Ideally, I'd love to be doing my music full time, but eventually that will happen, hopefully. But yeah, I'm just really grateful no matter what to be employed. But at the same time, if you are an entrepreneur and you have that vision, like we're talking about, to believe in yourself for, you know, greater things, to work for yourself, you need to kind of, almost have that business mind, and you kind of are like, but I want to work for myself too, you know? So it's kind of like, I need my own business. So being a musician is your own business, essentially. Sorry, I've probably gone off topic, haven't I?
No, not at all. I was even wondering. So, what is the vision for you now? What does the future look like? Where are you? Where's Beth heading next?
I'd like to know. I never really know, to be honest with you, like where I am headed. I know it sounds crazy. All I know is that I take each day as it comes. I take each month as it comes. I just book my busking slots a month in advance, or I try and get my diary booked up, just with whatever comes my way. I'll take any gig, no matter what shape or size or form it is. There's certain things, obviously, certain boundaries, you know. I won't go and sing at a rave or anything like that, you know. But like, it's just trying to envision where, I suppose from my faith perspective, where God wants me to be. Like, does he want me to be on the more Christian element side of music? Does he want me to stay in the more kind of commercial side of it and do that kind of thing, or mix both together? I mean, I'm happy to do either. Like, I'll just do whatever feels right in my heart to do.
And what feels most right to you right now?
So it's a hard thing, because in my heart, the right thing for me is to do more Christian-based things as well. But I've also got a desire to sing chart songs, which is what I do when I'm busking. I do a mixture of things, and I also write songs that aren't in your face Christianity as well, because I love that kind of like, yes, I'll take the positive elements of my faith, but I'll apply them to songs that could work universally for any faith, for any person who needs that message.
What I got from your music when I was listening on Spotify this morning, I got this positive vibe, this it was, I hear what you're saying, it was like faith music without being faith music.
Oh, that's really good to hear, actually. That's a massive positive thing to hear.
There wasn't me thinking I'm listening to a Christian rock band here. I'm listening to someone that's singing positive tunes.
Oh, right, okay. That's great feedback. Thank you so much. I'll take that on board, because I do wonder sometimes, like, do I come across either too Christian? Do I come across not Christian enough? I am in that bracket.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, my heart is just to write songs that connect with people. That's all I care about. Whatever faith you believe, whether you have faith or not, I care about the individual as a person. I care about their journey. And if my songs help that person in whatever state or position or circumstance they're in their life, then I've done my job. That's all I care about. I care about helping individuals with the stories that I tell in my songs. And my songs come from life experience. They all come from something that's bothering me in my life, like, let's switch up the paradigm of society, or let's, one of my songs, Rising Up, came from me being fired from my job and overcoming that dark time of my life, and then coming into actually my purpose of, following my passion for singing and songwriting and performing, and just getting to be free. And there's something about there's something freeing about being free. And for me, I guess, looking to the future, I'd love to do this full time. I'd love to, have regular clients sing for events, festivals, just wherever I can, even play my own shows, try and organise my own headline shows, which I'm trying to do for next year. and just trying to build the conversation of my story to connect with other people, but not to shove my faith in other people's faces. I don't agree with that. I think it's a good thing to say who you are, what you believe in, what your values are, but not expect, other people to, get on board with that. I only care about people feeling understood. And so I hope my music helps people feel understood, feel like they're seen, they've been heard, they can relate. And if people relate to that, no matter what walk of life they're from, then I'm just thankful that that's reached that person. So if I can continue to do that in whatever shape or form that looks like, and whether it's a worship song, whether it's a non-worship song, I guess I'm still in that time where I'm figuring out which one, I don't like to use the word, which will be more successful,
Well, see, I'm sitting here and it sounds to me like you've already figured it out. That you've already found, you're questioning yourself, but you've already found a perfect balance between the faith and between the positive energy and positive message. You've found, we mentioned yin and yang at the very beginning of this conversation, but your music to me is yin and yang. Your music to me does have now I know that you're a Christian, it does have that element in there, but not too much so that to someone that doesn't want to listen to that message would be pulled away from it. That you've actually found the balance. You just need to keep moving forward with how you have it. And it doesn't need to be all, maybe, it doesn't need to be all faith music, or all, shall we say, pop, can we say pop music?
Yeah.
Or, popular music. It doesn't have to be one or the other. You've brought the two together.
Yeah, that's really encouraging, actually. Thanks for saying that.
Well, that's what I'm hearing from you.
Yeah, because I guess sometimes when you're so focused and you're literally in the woods, you can't see the woods from the trees. So it's nice when you stand back and other people can describe it for you. It's nice to kind of get that.
And so what you're looking for is there already. So just keep going with that. Just keep doing what you're doing, and it doesn't sound like to me it needs to be found. It's there.
Yeah, that's so true, actually. Yeah, thanks for that encouragement. It's something, I suppose, that I do struggle still with self-doubt, in terms of like,
of course,
am I doing the right thing? Am I going in the right direction, God? I'm like, Lord, which way do I go? And the irony is I've actually got worship songs that I'm going to release, which are purely more the Christian side. But then I have got loads of songs that are very poppy. So yeah, I don't see why I should
do one or the other. Keep doing both.
Do both.
And maybe by doing both, it may pull people into one side or the other.
Yeah.
Someone may find your music through the Christian side and that pull them over to the more pop side, or someone may find you from the pop side and bring them over to the Christian side. So by doing both, by having this balance and the equalness of the both types of music, you're pulling in a wider audience than you would if you just did one.
Yeah, that's actually a really good point as well. Yeah, I never thought of it that way.
That's the business. That's the business side of it.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, ideally, talking of the business, I think I just need to grow my brand more. I need to solidate that the Beth Merill brand a bit more, and actually be more purposeful and be more intentional with like what I'm doing in terms of my own music artist's journey. So like I've tried to release music all year, but one thing I haven't mentioned is I've been trying to work on my physical health this year. So I had a whole plan. I normally every year I write out a whole plan of what I'm going to release and what songs I'm going to release, and because I produce my own music as well, I have had other producers as well help. Where I did a crowdfunder just to raise money to support an EP, and I've had some incredible producers kind of help me with that, and I've had co-producers, but a lot of the time I just produce by myself my own music, which saves me a load of money. So that enables me to then have more songs coming out. But this year has been the first year for about 2-3 years now So I started releasing music in 2020, and so this is the first year where I've only released one song so far, and I'm like, I need to release more music.
This is going back to the millennial thing, the thing of our era, that it sounds to me like you're being too hard on yourself.
Yes.
You know, you're going back to the judgment that our generation put upon ourselves, that we had to be productive in a certain way to contribute to society, to be valued.
Yeah.
But in fact, there is massive value in putting out one song.
I know.
You know, what a great... There are other people out there in the world that would be dreaming. You was once dreaming yourself of doing that, putting one song out.
So true.
So to be like, oh, I only did one, like, just say it a different way. I did one.
I did one.
What a great achievement that you did one.
Yeah.
That you put out one song this year.
I think you're right. I'm being too hard on myself because I'm very much like, if I have a plan, I'm going to stick to it, and I like hyper focus. You know, hyper focus to the plan and make sure I.
Yeah, and it's good to have a plan, but you can, you know, life gets in the way.
Yeah, the plan never goes to plan anyway.
The plan doesn't necessarily go to plan. Maybe you know, we talked about God. Maybe God's got slightly different plans than the one that you're thinking of.
Yeah,
you know,
it's so true.
And maybe God's plan was that you put one song out because that was the one that needed to go out.
Yes, and it wasn't even planned. Ironically, that wasn't even on the plan. It just came out of nowhere. But this year I focused mainly on my physical health and losing weight. So like weight loss, I was a lot more curvier in recent years. I've always struggled with my weight anyway and self-image and things. And my weight's been one of those things that's contributed towards my self-esteem issues. And I've really decided this year, the last sort of 6 to 8 months, I've really put my foot down, and I've had basically just to say, you know what, enough is enough. Part and parcel of, I've used it again, believing in myself and like taking back authority, taking back ground, and grabbing the bull by the horns and saying, you know what, I'm going to make a change this year. I mean, I did it when I got married. That was the year I did it, and I lost loads of weight then. But then I put it all back on since, and plus more. But then it's only really in the last sort of 6 months I've really started to lose weight again. But now I'm so intentional with it. But it does play a huge part as well in being a music artist. Not to say that, you know, you're going to get more opportunities if you're slimmer. No, I think...
I think what it is I think it's not necessarily the look of a person. No. If you've put weight on, it's about their internal health.
Yes.
How happy do you feel within yourself? And if you need to make a change within your life, within your diet, to be feeling happier, so you can be the performer that you want to be.
Yeah.
Then that needs to happen.
Yeah, 100%. And that's kind of where I'm at the moment. And looking to the future, that's kind of where I'm aiming to get to, is the version of me. So when I was like, you know, 18-year-old me, picturing 36-year-old Beth 18 years later, double the life. Oh gosh. I have to sit down. I am sat down. Hang on. Oh my gosh, 18 years.
But it goes by so quick, and like you said, you don't want to get wrapped up. You're done with the bullshit. You're done with you know. Sorry for swearing.
No, but it's true. Let's be real.
But yeah, you're done with that. So now, and you haven't got time. Time does keep moving forward. So if there's a change that you want to make to be happier in yourself, to be able to do your thing, then yeah, now's the time to do it. or readjust and ask yourself the question: what is it I'm looking for? Do I actually want to make this change for me? Is it something else?
Yes, I think a lot of it is as well just personal growth, personal health and fitness and mental health.
Because we can't do any of these things in life without the health, can we?
No.
Let's like you said, let's be real. Like if we lose our health, then we have nothing. You know, my wife, she had cancer for 10 years.
Oh, I'm so sorry to hear
and
that.
she still has that. But within those 10 years, there were periods of time that she spent 6 months in bed. You can't do anything with life when that happens to you. So I've seen it firsthand, life taken away from someone while they're still alive. You know, that nothing else can be done. And
it must be really hard to see.
so yeah, if you haven't got your health, you haven't got anything. So you need to protect that in order for you to be able to, like you said, fulfill your purpose, follow your path, and do God's plan.
Absolutely, yeah. And if that does mean also, sorry to hear about your wife's case, but like just sitting and being still and just having to just remain. I don't like to use the word stagnant, but you know what I mean. Like you have to just kind of be still and sometimes in the stillness, that's where, you find purpose and you find harmony, and you find yourself almost, like you pay attention to more things that you wouldn't have paid attention to before, and you start to really get to know yourself. And without those quiet and still moments, even when you're frustrated and you want to live your life and you feel stuck or you feel like you're not moving anywhere, those things happen for a reason, in the sense that it helps you grow. It's like a self-growth thing, like you're growing as an individual to kind of get to where you next need to go, because it's almost like stepping stones. Like there's a reason why they're stepping stones, because each one you're stood on, and then in order to go to the next one, there's a big gap in between, but you have to take a leap of faith to get to the next stepping stone. So that's why you might be still on the stepping stone and figuring out how to get to the next one, and you might feel like you're going nowhere. You might even have to take a step back occasionally, but then you have to take that leap of faith to go to the next stepping stone, even if you can't even see where it's going to go, or you can't even see it. Like, that's another song name, Stepping Stone. It's probably already like 2,000 already on Spotify. But yeah.
We should be making a note of these, shouldn't we?
I know! I'll have to like listen back to the podcast and be like, right,
here's a song.
Yeah. So yeah.
But it's interesting that you say about the taking a pause for a moment, because that's exactly where I started to find myself.
Yeah.
I had a pause for about 3 months where I did nothing. And the beginning of that 3 months, I was like, oh my God, like, what am I doing with my life? Everything's falling apart, and like, I'm useless, I'm rubbish, and just like, and the more I just slowed down with that, and literally did nothing. And I was so blessed to have that moment looking back.
Yeah.
I was so blessed to be in a situation where I could pause for a minute. I didn't realise what I was doing.
Yeah.
But when I came out of that, it was like a restart.
Yeah.
And I think this happened with a lot of people during COVID, where they were pulled away from their normal way that they were living, and then they were forced into kind of discovering who they were, and coming out again,
it's
the
like
other
a reset,
side,
completely resetting
everything. And it was interesting how I've never heard millennials referred to as the lost generation. I've not heard that before.
Oh really?
And I wonder if that's true. That's true for me, that I needed to be lost in order to be found.
Yeah.
Is that a song?
That's definitely a song.
That is definitely.
I think it already is a song.
I think that is, yeah. But it's true. You need to be lost in order to be found.
Amazing grace, I once was lost, but now I'm found. There you go. But I agree. I completely agree. Getting lost is the best thing we could ever do.
Yeah.
Tell yourself to get lost.
Get lost. Get lost.
Get lost, Beth.
Yeah.
Get
If you
lost.
feel like things are not working, get lost for a minute.
Get lost. Yeah.
Look in the mirror and tell yourself to get lost.
Yeah, get lost, because you're gonna be found
Yeah.
eventually. I think, like in my case, I was lost as well. Like when I got fired, I was like, oh my gosh, my whole career's come crumbling down.
Everything you thought it should be and how it should
It's
be.
like, I'm meant to be a design supervisor at Monsoon Accessorize. Why aren't I designing for this brand? I mean, they don't exist anymore, for one. And I was chasing all these things that don't even exist. And it's funny how along the way you could look back and call it God's protection, or whatever it is, or the universe protecting you, or however people want to interpret it. But again, it's like there's a time for everything. And if you do have a time where you're not releasing music or not being productive, even though sitting still is productive, it is, isn't it? Doing nothing is productive. It is.
And you don't realise it until you look back. That's the thing with that. You don't, at the time, it goes against everything that we were taught and shown and told.
Yeah.
But actually, when you look back, it's like that was the time that you did the most work.
Yeah. It's true, because it's like if you just go for a walk in the park, that's ironic. You know, life's a walk in the park, not. But like even just like going for a stroll down the beach or going to somewhere that looked like a lovely walk in the woods or in the park.
That's where I solve most of my problems.
Yeah.
On a walk.
Really?
By myself.
Wow.
Just go for a walk and don't force it. I don't force the questions. But the more I just enjoy the walk, the more the thoughts flow and the answers come.
Absolutely. It's organic, isn't it? You can't force change. Change happens naturally. It's just going to happen in the time it's meant to happen. Or when you evolve like a butterfly. You can't rush a butterfly cocooning. A caterpillar cocooning. It's like...
And if you do you know what happens when a caterpillar, if someone tries to open the cocoon?
No.
Do you know what happens?
No, what happens?
They die instantly.
Well, there you go then.
Yeah.
It says it all, doesn't it?
You have to be patient, you have to wait.
Yeah. Wow. I didn't know that, actually. But it just goes to show, doesn't it? It's like, why be premature in trying to do things? It's like, yeah, you just be patient with yourself. I think a lot of the journey is as well, isn't it? Is when you feel lost or you feel like, I don't know where the next step is going, but I know where I want to go. But almost you feel like, oh, but I'm so desperate to get there because I really already want to be there. But it's like, yeah, but if you go there now, it's going to harm you. So you've got to wait until you're fully ready and let it organically happen. Whatever's meant to find you will find you. I believe in that as well. Like, so that's why I could sit here and make a long list of my music career and be like, yes, I'd love to be signed. I'd love to have a record deal. Yes, I'd love to go to Nashville. Yes, I would actually love to go to Nashville. Right, I would love that. But again, no money. Don't have a community around me. Don't know where to start. I have some people and some communities that are based in Nashville, but again, it's all money. Pay this a month to be part of this community, and I did all that in lockdown, and it was so.
You've discovered the ways that don't work.
Yes.
So now you're finding some new ways.
Exactly, and if it does mean that if God allows me to potentially maybe one day be signed to something that allows me to be part of that, would be great, because a lot of the journey, I know we haven't even touched on this yet, but it's so lonely. It's so incredibly lonely. As a creative, it can be really hard, can't it?
Yes, even when you're out there on the street performing, you've got all of those people out there walking by.
Yeah.
You're still an individual. That was one of the hardest. I pursued acting for a long time.
Yeah.
And that was the hardest thing that I found, actually, of how solitary it is.
Yeah.
To be an actor. The amount of time you have to spend on your own was actually. That's where I discovered that wasn't for me. That I actually thrive on connection.
Yeah.
That I thrive on being in a scenario where one-to-one with someone or with other people. When I'm in the rehearsal room, that's where I thrive. That's where I'm at my best. Or having the audience there. But it was just too much of it alone.
Yeah.
And the journey for all artists are hard in those alone times.
Yeah.
But important at the same time.
Yeah. It's so important. Yeah.
I guess that's where we build ourselves when we're alone.
Yeah. I suppose because you don't want to mimic everybody else around you. You don't want to be a product of everybody else's personality, which I think a lot of myself was kind of for a while, because I was struggling with my own identity, so I kind of took bits from here, took bits from there to fit in, when really I never fitted in, and that's why, because I wasn't being myself. And even now I'm being myself, I still don't fit in, but that's cool, because I fit in with myself, and that's all I need to, so. If I'm comfortable in my own skin, then I'm happy, but sorry, what were you saying again? I've completely gone off topic.
We're just trying to work out where we fit in within this as being solitary artists and how that works.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, and a lot of it is self-motivation. That's what I was going to say. Self-motivation. And having that discipline, self-discipline, and self-motivation is essential for any creative, I think, as well. It's because if you are building a business, or you have to make time to have deadlines to produce this song for somebody, which I'm trying to do this year. I'm trying to start branching out, producing music for other people. But then that comes with obviously making sure that I'm meeting their deadlines, meeting their expectations, not letting them down, and trying to be purposeful and intentional to follow that through and deliver. And then also delivering my own timetables and my own plans, which have all gone to pot anyway. But like, you know, but then my health and my mental health and my physical fitness is more important. So therefore I've put that first over my music, and it's had to come first. It's come first before anything. It's actually, obviously, oh gosh, sorry. Obviously my husband comes first, my family life and everything, my faith, first and foremost. But ultimately, I've had to just, in the physical sense of things, in an earthly way, I've had to just go, right, my physical health is more important. This is going to make me feel better as a person. This is going to help me as a creative person live out, hopefully, the life that I'm supposed to live. This is going to then give me the confidence to apply for the opportunities I may not have done so because I had such low self-worth beforehand. So part of my weight loss journey is making myself feel good, not because I'm losing weight for the industry, because they expect me to be slim and sexy and all that nonsense. You know, I've been overweight and curvy. I always will be curvy. I'm never ever going to be the perfect Barbie doll size. Like, forget all that.
But you've got to do it for you.
Yes, that
You know.
I'm doing it for me, exactly. I'm just doing it because it is a now or never thing.
And the industry, you know, we've been told the industry thinks a certain way and that people want a certain image. But then Adele's coming to mind right now.
Yeah.
You know, Adele was a curvy singer and everyone fell in love with her voice, didn't they?
Exactly.
You know, it's...
Brilliant example of how you don't have to be, you know, slim.
You don't have to fit the mould that we keep being told that you should fit if you want to move forward.
Yeah.
I think the should is you should do it like this or you shouldn't do it like that.
It's like,
you know, all of those rules,
yeah,
I don't think they actually exist. They're all man-made.
they are man-made, and they're there to be broken as well. And obviously Lizzo as well. I think she's cool.
Yeah,
she just gets out there, does her thing, and there's so many, like Mama Cass Elliott and all these amazing people.
Yeah, the true performers were themselves first.
Yeah, Aretha Franklin.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Their personality should be more important, and obviously their talent and their vocals. But I think personality is just as important as well when it comes to selling yourself, and it comes to that performance as well, because your personality's got to come through in the performance. And so yeah, I think that's been a real encourager for me as well, definitely with Adele's journey. We're the same age as well, so
right.
It's nice to know that she's lost the weight, she's done it for herself, regardless of the industry.
Yeah.
I can imagine her going, stuff the industry, you know. I reckon we'd be good friends, me and Adele. We're destined to be best friends. I'm joking. It's not like she's ever going to see this, but she might.
Well, you never know.
You never know if you're watching Adele.
Yeah.
But yeah, so if she can do it, I can do it. And there's so many people out there who are proving that you can lose weight, that you can do it for yourself. And I'm not losing weight for the industry. I'm not losing weight to get more opportunities as a musician. It might help though overall, because when I look back at the footage I've sent in recently for applications, I'm cringing. I'm like, oh my gosh, because I've lost quite a lot of weight since those videos. So even in that, I'm like, oh no, I'm like shuddering, going, oh no.
Yeah, that self-criticism is coming in again, isn't it?
It is, and I should just be like, no, focus on the voice, focus on the content.
Yeah.
But then you think, why do I have this sinking feeling that they're just going to look at that and look at this big lump and go, nah, move on.
But the conclusion that I came to with auditioning for me as an actor, that if I got that kind of judgment, and it is different for me being a male, I do understand that. Before I start, like saying my advice from my position, but I came to the conclusion with the rejections that I got was that's not the rooms that I want to be in. That's not the place that I want to be. If they do make that judgment of my talent based on how I look, then do I want to be around them? You're going back to the interviews for jobs and for normal working, that it's important that, when you was going into to Morrison's or the PPI company, that you went in there and you assessed, is this the place for me? Well,
do I want to spend my life here?
Do you want to spend your life there? Well, when you're auditioning for festivals or you're, or whatever gig it is that you're doing, do you want to be around that? Is that the place for you?
That's such a good point. Thank you, Martin, for pointing that out, because you get so hung up.
You get so hung up in your own...
Like, because I'm so driven and I'm very, ambitious.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that's a good word in
No, it
Christianity.
is. I think it is. It's fine to be driven, especially if you're trying to follow a path or go on a journey. You need to have that drive.
And I think as well, a lot of it, sadly, in Christianity, it can be mistaken as, all you care about is yourself. It's like, it's like considering arrogance. But it's like, no, I'm trying to get rid of that narrative, because it's a lot of it is, how is God going to use you if you can't be ambitious? If God doesn't if He put that fire in your heart, then you have to drive yourself forward. Jesus, take the wheel, but I'm driving. Like Jesus is driving, but He's taking the wheel, and I've got to be in the driver's seat to go to where I need to get, to the destination He's calling me to be. And how can I get there if I'm not going? This is me. This is who I am. This is what I stand for. This is my brand. This is what I believe in. And yes, it may look like I'm being all about myself, but I'm not. I'm doing it because it's not about me. And it's just getting rid of that taboo of like, I think it's because I hate to use the word brainwash, but being in the Christian circle for so long,
there's a voice that's been put in there that's maybe held you back, an external voice.
It really has,
and it does sound to me like you are past that.
Yes.
But it's still echoing, it's still resonating.
A little bit. Maybe it's more one big lie as well. Like I've built this image up in my head, but it was never that in the first place. I just never had anyone to tell me that it wasn't. So I
hope from this conversation today you might come away from here re-evaluating that slightly and taking a moment for pause and a moment to reflect and go forward with just a little bit more self-confidence.
Yeah, I have actually. Yeah, thank you. That really does resonate with me a lot, and it's it does sort of help, even though it's been a massive help to me as a person in growing who I am and who I've become and who I'm still becoming. I think a lot of it as well is you can kind of be brainwashed into thinking a certain way and feeling a certain way, and like saying you can do this. No, it's frowned upon to do that. No, you shouldn't really do that. Obviously, 10 commandments, do that. But at the same time, it's like, don't get so hung up over the emotional thing of feeling judged by people, because so many people are so judgmental, and it's just trying to get away from what other people think, and it's finally learning to stick two fingers up to the rules essentially, and going, I've had enough of what other people think of me. I don't care. I don't give a monkeys anymore. Respectfully, I care what people think if it's constructive criticism, and I'll happily take that on. I'll happily take on if people say things because they love me, because they care about me and they want me to improve, of course I'll take that on. But I haven't got time for negative, judgment or sneering or people not approving of me. I don't need other people's approval to do what I need to do. Like one of the lyrics in one of my songs is I don't even know the lyrics to my songs. Oh no. It's the first lyric in my song Security, actually. It's all about being secure in knowing who I am.
Tell me about the song. Tell me a bit more. Is it about security? What's the name of the title of the song?
Security.
Security.
I have to play it now, sorry. Just to remember what it is.
This could be the moment for the plug.
This could be unplugged. Well, to be fair, I released it 3 years ago. So.
Well, we still want to get it out there, don't we?
It's basically about being secure in my faith, but also being secure in who I am. Like one of the lyrics is, I don't need no recognition, comments, likes or shares. I just need my saviour upon I just need my saviour upon whom I cast all my cares. Anyway, I'm getting all tongue-tied. But anyway, where is it? I can't find it. There we go. So the first.
Let's take a moment to play the song, if you like.
Sure, right then.
Just put it just above the speaker, above the mic.
Okay. It's the first lyric I'm trying to remember. I know it's crazy, but...
So you composed this as well?
I produced this one, yeah.
Produced it, yeah.
There we go. That's it. Yeah, so that's a very
Wonderful,
heavy...
thank you. Thank you for sharing.
Thanks for letting me play it. Thanks for letting me plug my song. But yeah, that's a very, what you call CCM, as in Christian contemporary music, heavy kind of genre, I'd say. So that's more kind of the Christian element, but it could also be non-Christian potentially, because I sing about Jesus in it as well. It's quite obvious. So. But yeah, I've also got other songs with that kind of theme that aren't as obvious, if you know what I mean. But yeah, anyway, I don't need justification following my heart. I don't need mankind to reprove. It's okay to start. And just those lyrics there, I don't know why I'm getting emotional, but like, it's like I spent my whole life waiting for justification and waiting for mankind to approve of me, to tell me it's okay to do what I want to do. And so because I waited so long for that and it didn't come, I had to eventually then push myself to do it. So I had to approve of myself, because God already approved of me before, like you say. What was it you thought of that saying earlier, wasn't it? The calling is the invitation.
The calling is the invitation.
Yeah, so it's like God calling me, He invited me. I don't need a man to invite me.
No.
God invited me. So, well, what I believe myself. And so, yeah, so that's why I think it's so important now that I just help other people know that, yeah, their self-worth does not depend upon other people's values or opinions of them or validations of them. It's just knowing who they are, regardless of whether they have a faith or not, just knowing who they are, having self-confidence, self-belief, believing in who they are, feeling good about themselves, and believing that they have a place in this world, that there is a purpose for their life, and that they can achieve what they want to achieve, no matter what background they're from, whether they're from a divorced single parent background, coming from, you know, lack of opportunity, and no money. Essentially is my childhood. So you can be anyone. You don't have to come from an affluent part of the world with loads of money. You can be anyone and still achieve your dreams. I hope that you achieve your dreams. But yeah, it's hard though. Especially, I'm thankful for my Christian kind of aspect to my life as well. It's only really been a part of my life since I was 16, so 20 years of my life. I've wanted to walk away from it a lot as well, but I've stayed with the faith. It's not perfect. You know, I'm not a perfect Christian. I'll happily say that, because at the end of the day, nobody's perfect. And I'm not here to be all, you know, holier than thou. And, you know, I let the odd swear word out occasionally, you know. Let's just keep it real, you know. We're human beings. And at the same time, God knows that. He knows we're weak. He knows that we're not perfect. What's that saying? His strength is made perfect in my weakness. I think that's that's the saying. I probably got it wrong, but yeah. So for me, I feel like I'm stronger because I can be stronger, because I know in my weakness I'm stronger, because He gives me the strength to fight and to believe in myself. So He's helping me. I believe He is my helper in my life. He gives me the strength to overcome. He gives me the promise of a future, of a plan, even if I don't even know where that is, even if I don't even know where that's going. I don't really know where my future music career is going. I haven't got a clue. Like I said, I could sit here and list the whole things.
But having the faith gives you the freedom to keep moving forward, and gives you the encouragement to move forward.
Yeah.
It gives you, when you're going to make that leap, it gives you the push.
Yeah, exactly. Just trusting and knowing that He knows where my future is, that God has a plan and a purpose, but also just knowing that I have to also take the responsibility to make things happen as well. Like, I can't just sit here and God's just not going to wave His magic wand. It's like... You
can't sit in that comfort. That we'll go back to that comfort.
Yeah.
You need to step outside of the comfort zones. You need to push the boundaries.
Exactly.
Otherwise, nothing's going to happen for you.
It's so true, because I've got stuck in that almost Christian bubble of thinking, oh, God will take care of it. No, but it's like, actually, no, you need to take action. Take action. If there's this saying where you do 10%, God does 90%, or sometimes it's I do 90, God does 10. You know, but it's like you just got to trust that He's got your back. He's gonna catch you when you fall, because most of the time we're gonna fall flat on our face as creative people. We're going to put ourselves out there. It's not going to go to plan. It's all going to go to pot. And it's just going to be a disaster, as Craig Revel Horde would say. So it's like, so yeah, it's okay if things, you know, go belly up in our life. I think that's also a great thing. Like we were saying, it's a good thing to do nothing as well, right?
Yeah.
But it's also a good thing if things go belly up.
Yeah, because well, all of those failures and those belly ups that I had, they all took me to the next place. They actually turned out to be the stepping stones.
There you go.
Every time that it went wrong was actually the next step.
Yeah.
And we learn so much from it going wrong, don't we?
Yeah. It's so true, isn't it? Like things that we thought were meant to happen and go to plan, and we thought in our head we logically planned the next step after that, and it's like no. So actually this is the way it's going. And that's okay. It's like learning to be at peace with that and accepting the things we can't control in our life. I think that has power, taking back power and knowing that actually, well, in my heart I know God is the one who's got the power to change my life, but at the same time we have to take action to instigate, you know, and give power to ourselves almost, because we have to be the ones to actually catalyse and get the ball rolling and make sure that we're doing our part and taking responsibility to apply for things, write that application, contact that person, be brave, have the balls, have the boldness to put yourself out there, which I still struggle with. I really struggle with that, but I'm learning in recent years that that's what I have to do in order to make sure that I get to the next step. And don't take sloppy seconds from life. We deserve the best. We deserve to be the best version of ourselves that we can be, and do it for us. Do it for us first. Do it for ourselves, because
I like to think of that analogy of if there's a plane going down and you're sitting there with your children next to you and the gas mask come down. You're told to put the gas mask on yourself first.
Yeah.
Or the oxygen mask on not gas mask, oxygen mask. You're told to put the oxygen mask on yourself first before you put it on the children, because otherwise you'll pass out and you can't protect them.
You can't protect them, yeah.
So that's the same with others. You have to look after yourself first, being able to do good for others.
It's so true, because I think that especially if you've kind of been that person who's always been the agony aunt, or put yourself out there for other people before yourself, which I've found myself doing sometimes. I think you almost have to go down that route to then realise the value of putting yourself first as well, because you don't really understand how important it is until you've not put yourself first. So if you're constantly putting others before you, which is again a Christian thing, like, oh, I'm going to put everybody else before you, but then you forget about yourself. And I think that's what's happened to me a lot of my life as well, like, because I was sort of, not to say that's a negative, because that has its place as well, but because you're serving others, but at the same time it's like you have to learn to look after yourself and love yourself, and that means putting yourself first, putting your health first, putting your mental health first, putting, you know, everything that's important to you first, not forgetting about yourself. Don't forget about your own dreams. Because I've been an encouraging person, that's why I consider myself an encourager, and I've spent a lot of my life encouraging everybody else other than myself, and so now I'm kind of like taking back encouragement. It's so random.
Listening to your own words.
Yeah, it's ironic. It's so ironic. Isn't it ironic? But like, I actually sing that song quite a lot. But like, it's so true, because a lot of the times I'd be encouraging other people to do the very thing that I actually wanted to do.
But that's, you know, that's easy to do, isn't it? It's always easier to look outside of yourself at everyone else and what they're doing and give them some guidance. But actually, the hardest thing to do is to guide ourselves. Yeah,
that's bang on. Like, it's one of the most difficult things I definitely know I've found, and I've really struggled with that, is listening, taking my own advice. And not being a hypocrite, which I'm sure I have been many times.
And I think for me, I listened to my own advice, or found my own advice in the pause. In the pause, in the moment of pausing, in the moment of being lost.
Oh, I thought you said in the pools.
Oh, in the
swimming
pools. No, in the pools. I call it the pools.
Oh.
In the moment of being lost.
Oh, right,
in the moment of not continuing fighting with the life and, you know, trying to make everything work. In that moment of just being still for a minute.
Yeah, that's where true beauty comes, isn't it? From the ashes of the ruins of our lives, almost.
Yes, yeah.
Like, we find, that, like the butterfly,
Mm-hmm.
if we let it grow, it can spread its wings and fly. It's so metaphorical.
Yes, this is a very metaphorical. but faith has come into this a lot, and as we've explored your journey, and you know, it's what you've said today has been really important for me at this point of my journey.
Oh, wow.
I'm actually discovering a lot about faith at this point in my life.
Oh, wow.
And that's only I stayed away from that for a long time.
Yeah.
I realised with myself that I was an avoider of conflict, and so I didn't follow faith because I didn't want the conflict that can potentially come with that.
Yeah.
But I'm at a point in my life where I'm discovering faith.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't say I'm religious as such, but I do believe that there's more going on in this universe than we understand.
Yeah.
And listening to your journey, listening to you about your faith and what you believe, it's really valuable to me right now, and will help me move forward as well. So thank you so much for sharing today, Beth. I really do appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me, Martin.
That's okay.
Just got to get that vision board down and stick to it and see where God takes me, and trust.
And believe in yourself as you do your faith.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, just
and so,
have faith, hope, and love.
one last question for you then. If there was a young Beth out there listening, you know, that 16-year-old, 17-year-old, quiet, shy little mouse, but has the dream, has the performer in them that wants to break free, what would you say to her?
That's a powerful question. And I would say it's not going to be like this forever. If I could tell you in 20 years' time you'll be singing to 100 people plus at an event, singing your own songs, trust and believe in yourself. Just believe in yourself. Drown out the noise, drown out the racket of everybody else around you. Just trust God, have faith in yourself, and aim for the sky. Just shoot for the moon, and if you miss, you'll land amongst the stars. And nothing is impossible. So I could probably write a book for my younger self, to be fair. I actually do need to write a book anyway. That's on my list of things to do. But I would probably, say to her, it's not going to be like this forever. Hang on in there. You don't need to feel as low or lousy as you do. You are worth more. You have value. You are important. You have a voice. You matter. You matter is a huge one. Believing that you matter, and that actually you have so much to offer the world, and you are gifted, you are talented. Don't listen to all the nonsense from all these people in your life right now, because 90% of them aren't even going to be in your life anyway. Again, because you'll be stuck in a classroom full of people you never volunteered to be stuck in with anyway at school. So a lot of it is just a load of nonsense people putting nonsense into your head, which ultimately is nonsense, which is just going to end up, being a total waste of your energy if you waste time thinking about that. And so, just believe in yourself, trust your gut, go with your gut, and never look back. And I think I'm repeating myself now, but just believe in yourself and you matter.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for sharing, Beth. This has been wonderful, and I do appreciate it. And I like that little discovery we had in this journey as well, in this conversation, that as a reminder to yourself that I hope you leave with today is that the calling is the invitation.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to hold on to that.
We'll hold on
Yes.
to that. I'm going to hold on to that one too,
Yes.
for me personally.
Golden nugget.
That's going to be a takeaway from me from this. So,
Yeah.
And if anyone has been watching or listening, we appreciate you as well for joining us for this conversation.
Yeah, thank you so much for listening, and thank you for your time and for inviting me onto your amazing podcast.
No problem at all.
It's been so lovely, and sorry if I've rambled on a bit.
No, that's what we're here to do. That's the point.
I hope, I hope
we succeeded today. If we rambled, we succeeded.
Yay! Okay.
Thanks again, Beth.
Thank you, Martin. Thank you.
Switch up the paradigm. Switch up the paradigm. Yeah, it's time to breathe and shut out the lies. Time for hellos and time for goodbye. Wiping all our seasons, tears from my eyes. 'Cause I've had enough, yeah, it's time to rise. Switch up the paradigm. Switch up the paradigm. Place. Yeah, I believe in this world will be a better place. Oh, it's time for love and time to be glad. Don't ever sorrow, be angry or mad. Switch up the paradigm. Switch up the paradigm. Yeah. Oh, time to unite and trust in His plan. We gotta believe we'll be the best we can. Switch up the paradigm. Oh, switch up the paradigm. Yeah, I believe in this world will be a better place. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I believe in this world will be a better place. Switch it up and now back it up, it's time to reset. I'm moving forward, stepping ahead, yeah. This paradigm is changing instead. So ready, steady, come on, let's get set. Let's get set, go. Time to forget those words so unkind. Although they circle around in your mind, switch up the paradigm. Switch up the paradigm. Yeah. No need to grudges, just try and forget. 'Cause there's no time for hate and regret. Switch up the paradigm. Switch up the paradigm. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I believe in this world will be a better place. Yeah, I believe in this world will be a better place. Oh, a better place. Switch up the paradigm, yeah. Switch it up.